So, I mean, he's not dropping his standards by any means. But also, what really did surprise me, as long as we're talking about APG and the X-players, I think they have found a good match for them in the form of Conspiracy.
Like, well, Conspiracy just needs the experience. He just needs to get there.
Yeah, he needs the experience, but he performed way beyond my expectation at a LAN for his first time at a LAN. I mean, he fits the team better, I feel, than PSL did. They had the stand-in Hurley for a little while, but I mean, obviously, it's not their first choice. PSL, I have no idea why he left, but I feel like Conspiracy really does suit their playstyle, and the fact that they're such good friends, it just works in their favor.
Speaking of Adestam, though, because his form rates, but he mustn't feel good about one thing, that Chosen One in the eNergy side has actually the highest overall lost hits of any player at this tournament. That being said, eNergy's played the longest games. So when you've been playing ultra-long games, then your average lost hits ratio does tend to increase. But still, it's still a pretty impressive thing to do, to be able to consistently be like the highest loss hitter in a game, even in their really hard games that they've played to get you. I think the one thing that XTC has to worry about, though, they've played relatively few games, and all their games have been quite quick. So they might not actually have that long slog endurance. So coming just like in the first game, if the first game goes really long, I suspect eNergy is going to be able to win it out just because they had their practice.
They certainly had plenty of practice yesterday, playing approximately 6 hours of continuous Dota.
6.5 hours straight. I mean, that has to put such a fatigue factor behind you. And to think
but
that
they're well rested. I stepped into that booth. They're looking fresh. They're looking ready. I just shook hands with Habibi. Great honor, by the way.
And I mean, it's nice to see that, you know, out of everyone, Odu was their first setting up, you know, because they're ready. They just want to come and play, man.
I mean, these eNergy guys, they went to bed before we did.
Yeah, they did. Legit.
And they woke up before we did. They were all ready, prepared.
Yeah.
You know, while everyone else is getting coffee, they were like, all right, guys. I'm sure they could have played at 7.
Yeah, I think they're just anxious to, you know, get this day over and done with. As much as it's, you know, just for them, I feel like they're ready and they just want to play. Like they're just so anxious to play, and it's evident. I mean, waking up before everyone, you know, while we're all still like, you know, half asleep, getting our coffee, they're ready to go. And I mean, they're here setting up way before anyone else. It's nice to see how, you know, just ready for action they are.
Yeah, they're looking fresh. So I don't think the fatigue factor is going to be too much. If anything, it's their practice, like you mentioned.
And yesterday, even with the fatigue factor, they ended up triumphing. I mean, after playing 4 hours of consecutive Dota, they came back and played another best of 3 and triumphed over that one as well. So it's nice to see.
Yeah, but there is one thing that concerns me. All of those games were not easy games.
No, they were not.
They did drop a game. I know that Chelsea blames himself for that one, just on the draft. Not entirely sure that's fair. I think that was up against Pulse, wasn't it?
Yeah, wasn't that was the hostile game, right? No, they won the hostile game.
It was the game before that where they drafted a lot of magical, not enough physical.
The gyro game.
The gyro game.
Yeah, it was his fault that they lost that game. They could have actually. No, like I'm being real.
Wow, slam the man. Why not?
They really could have won that game without. If they had anything but gyrocopter in the carry position, they could have won. Like if they picked that anti-mage that they won, like they've been winning with, they would have won that game. Like
if they picked any other carry besides gyro, I think they could have won that game easily, just with a better damage dealer. But the fact that he recognizes his mistake almost instantly shows you what kind of a player he is. You know, not just the fact that he knows his mistakes, but the fact that he's willing to admit them as well. That's huge. It's really big of someone to do that.
We'll get back to this. We'll get back to this after taking a look at who Chelsea will be drafting against, and that is the side of XTC. XTC, a happy bunch of guys, a happy bunch of mercenaries they've been described as, and they placed second last time, so there's no reason why they're not looking for second this time around.
Yeah.
I know eNergy was the favorites. Are they still the favorites here?
I feel like, especially, we always talk about Deppy and Adastam. I feel like there's one player that does go unnoticed, but I mean, everyone in the scene notices and has been noticing his improvement more than anyone else, and that is Dota and Die. That guy has improved leaps and bounds.
Captain.
Yeah, the captain as well, yeah, ironically. But honestly, that player, from what he was just a few months ago to what he's become now, he has really exceeded expectation.
I think the key with Dota and Die is not so much his peaks of skill, but that consistency with which he plays.
Yeah.
It's never a loose cannon sort of situation, which one could use to describe Deppy. from time to time.
Yeah,
But
he does
Dota and Die,
yeah.
solid, reliable, strong.
We have seen Deppy tilt on occasion, but Dota and Die does keep a very calm head. I mean, yesterday we were sitting with him, and everyone's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay? You look so worried or anxious or depressed." And he's like, "No, I'm just thinking about the game tomorrow." So like everyone's having a good time.
Just doing the maths.
Here's Dota and Die. Like even with a beer in his hand, you know, he's still like strategizing. He's got such a keen mind for drafting. And when it comes to eNergy, yeah, they might be the favorites, or they, you know, even Castaway wants to play against them, and you know, there's been too many XTC finals, as Castaway put it. But for me, they have been a bit shaky, even against the lower teams, whereas XTC have been pretty much consistent in their wins. You know, it's been convincing wins instead of like really having to fight for their wins. That's the only thing that does concern me.
Well, Snare, given what we know more or less about the team composition of XTC, with Deppy being that sort of up and down, has tilted from time to time, it's kind of the Deppy show, but not quite, because you have that reliability from Dota and Die, and that solid carry of Adastum. If you were sitting in the booth of eNergy right now, giving them advice on who to focus on, who would it be?
Probably focus Deppy. I think he has the least deaths on their
Still
team.
Deppy?
Yeah, like it's just the way that Deppy likes to play. He's one of those players, him and Costco have a similar type of style in that they like to dominate the entire game, right? This is the type of player you give a good start, then after that good start, they go on to carry the game for you. Even if your own carry player is doing his own thing, doing really well in the lane, ideally you want this mid player to be the one that can just destroy the game, put the team on his back, and then win for you. So you want to create a situation where he can't do that, and then they have to rely on Adastam. Not that there's a bad thing, but then Deppy himself as a player doesn't have that doesn't seem to enjoy games where he's not controlling it, where he's not at the forefront of what's happening in the game. If he has to sit back and let things happen to him because of how badly laning phase went, for example, then it can really go well in their favor. Also, eNergy tend to be one of the better laning teams. So if they can actually apply that pressure to Deppy, it makes their life so much easier going into the mid game, especially.
Well, they have been brutalized and battle-hardened, the boys of eNergy eSports, but they are still here. Let's take a look. Battle-hardened veterans, but fresh and ready to go this morning. I'm pretty sure there's a bit of a grudge match going on here, because eNergy is not willing to let it go like they did last time to XTC. I think we were all more or less surprised that XTC came second last time around.
Yeah, especially because eNergy took a game of WG in the last LAN.
Yeah.
So we were like, oh, they're definitely second. They're coming second, and here come XTC and take that spot from them, and pretty convincingly.
I mean, they've played a lot against XTC. I think these top three teams have played a lot against each other. XTC has been playing a lot of finals versus WRG and then beating eNergy in the loser bracket final to get there. So I'm sure eNergy's now, they're like, okay, guys.
It's our turn,
Come on. You've lost against WRG many times now. It's, give someone else a chance. You know, like when you're playing at the arcade and then you're playing King of the Hill, and this one guy's just been sitting there the whole day, and you're like, dude, you've been playing against him and losing. Let me try.
Let me take it.
Let me give him a shot. Yeah.
Well, that's actually a good question. Who do you feel has the better chance of unseating the Kings at the moment, White Rabbit Gating?
Oh, I want to stick with my earlier prediction and still say eNergy. I think it's just, I was speaking to Chidao yesterday. Really? He was saying, like they've played, XTC honestly just played against WRG too many times. And I don't think WRG has really played against this new eNergy since they put Odu back on the support position and got Habibi. So it's the same team, but not really. Like a lot has changed since the last time that WRG has played them. So I think ideally they probably have the greatest chance in terms of surprise factor going into playing on WRG. WRG might not necessarily be comfortable playing against the exact play style. Whereas against XTC, they've played a lot against it. Even yesterday's game, it was super chaotic, but it didn't feel like WRG were off kilter, It didn't feel like they didn't necessarily know what to do. And also they were able to manage the draft. And I think eNergy's a bit harder to draft against than XTC, given that XTC tend to go for more solid strategies. They know exactly what they want to do, and they execute it, They play that mercenary style of Dota. They don't come in with frills.
The strategy reflects.
We come in, we kill, we leave, right? Whereas eNergy will pick Gyrocopter and then last pick like Timbersaw, and you're like, oh, okay, this is what's happening. So they'll do stuff like that, whereas I don't think XTC will, and that might actually throw WRG off.
Succubus, who would you rather see in a grand final up against WRG?
Well, I've got respect for both these teams sitting up here today. I think both of them, I feel, deserve second place. But I'm going to go with XTC here because eNergy, for me, this tournament and the last tournament have had a hard time. I know they've triumphed, but they've had a hard time against teams. And especially this tournament, they've won, but they haven't had easy wins, is the point. With XTC, it's been a bit different. It's been pretty much one-sided in their matches. So for me, I feel like they're the more dominant, consistent team right now. But we do have the Habibi and Odu factor to consider as well. And Chelsea, I mean, that guy Sandking yesterday, I mean, geez, the stuff that he pulls sometimes, like it, I mean, luckily he can really, really, like, just change the pace of the game. Like, I never know what Chelsea is up to.
That brings us to an excellent point.
I mean, both exceptionally good drafters on both sides. You have Dota and Dai on the one hand, who's a very good drafter, very keen mind for strategy, and then you've got Chelsea as well. Both been in the scene quite a long time. So for me, I don't really have a favorite here to win. I just feel, looking at the way they've been playing this tournament, I feel like XTC does have the edge in that regard. But you never know what will happen because, you know, a team can be inconsistent the one day and come and show up to play the next. It just depends what kind of mindset you're in.
Well, you brought up a good point. So let's really explore it. You brought up pacing.
Yeah.
This is a best of 3 after all.
Yes.
And pacing, how important is it here? Are we going to see another 112-minute game 1 like we saw yesterday, and then 2 relatively short games afterwards?
I think ideally eNergy want to play long games against XTC because
why?
Like XTC, normally when I see them play, their mid game is like phenomenally good. Coming off like just after the laning phase, they're able to do a lot around the map and they're able to put out a lot of pressure. So ideally, but eNergy has the best holding. Like they're the team that's been able to absorb the most amount of pressure, even in games that aren't necessarily going their way. Like they're the only team I think that they can probably be like double racks down. Like we saw that just they were double racks down and they didn't really care. They were like, whatever, we can still win this game. So they want to force the game to get to that ultra late game stage where anything can happen and then the predictability goes out the window. And I think they flourish under those conditions. Like I was like looking at it now, between Odu and Habibi, combined, like individually, they both have close to 150 assists each. I think it's like 149 or something.
Yeah.
Does that mean we're likely to see another anti-mage or really late game carry?
I
feel especially when teams are very evenly matched, like they are here on the stage right now, games do tend to run a bit longer because, I mean, or that someone makes a really, really big mistake in the first game or the second game. But honestly, I do feel like we're going to see pretty lengthy games today.
Therefore late game drafts.
And therefore late game drafts, yeah. They're going to draft for both, but they're going to have that one hero that secures them to get into the late game.
Also, overall, Chosen One's been farming.
They look raring. They look ready to rock and roll. Look at the boys of XTC.
Yeah.
They're ready to
chilled.
Yeah, Deppy casually just, sitting in the back there.
And I think also eNergy has had, like, overall their farm distribution gets better as the game goes on. Like, still, again, they've been playing longer games, so that's more opportunity for that to happen. But generally, how I see them, they have a very good farm distribution. So XTC tend to be very top-heavy towards Deppy and Adestam. Dota and Dai, Doombunny get absolutely, they get literally nothing in any given game. And Scarnet just gets what he needs to be able to facilitate the team fights.
For me, it's what they do with nothing.
Yeah, they do amazing things. Yeah. Like Dota and Dai, I was laughing though because...
That's a bit of yesterday because Pulse was pulling off the most amazing stuff with a huge goal deficit.
Yeah. No, but that's one of those situations, like I think Pulse is a perfect analogy for what we're going to look here, right? Because the way Pulse was playing, Pulse was focusing pretty much all their farm onto Smacker, right? Smacker was entirely, they're like, you just take all the money, you can win the games for us, right? Yeah. And it was working to a degree, like they ended up losing, but it was very close games, primarily because of the fact that he was able to still utilize that farm and fight very heavily. But I think one of the reasons why Pulse lost was because the rest of the team wasn't at that exact level as well. So the longer the game went on, it became very stark like how far behind Pulse actually were because the rest of the supports, especially the offlaners, weren't able to do as much with eNergy. Whereas if you looked at the eNergy team, pretty much everyone had money. So it was like, oh, okay, fine. Like there comes like yesterday's game where Night Stalker and Sand King both bought Abyssal Blades. Yeah. I was like, what? They lost that game.
But just buying a stun.
It was like, oh, okay, so this is the kind of Dota we play. So this is the kind of thing that I think eNergy get really good at, being able to just get the items for the late game. And yesterday we were talking about how important itemization can be in that ultra late game. So that's like their primary strength, and you want to be able to play to that strength if need be.
Well, that was your point yesterday. Do you see anything in particular coming out today? Given such even teams, such an even map.
With regards to itemization?
Itemization,
Yeah, I mean, it's situational. Dota is situational. You can't just paper build every game and expect to win.
Don't build by the book.
You can't build by the book in Dota.
It's an important lesson.
No, I'm serious though. Like, there are standard things that are good in early game, good in the mid game, but when it comes to what heroes you're playing against, what strategy you're taking, and it's also like, when you start building something, you have to stick to it. Only when you get to that ultra late game can you start swapping out items. But if you basically painted yourself that picture, it's kind of hard to go back. You can't half build a Lincoln's and then go, oh wait, or half build a BKB. I mean, you can always turn it obviously into Mjolnir, or you can turn it into an Echo Saver or something like that. But when you start itemizing, you have to kind of stick to what you're doing. And I feel like disabling items, like the Abyssal Blades, the Sheep Sticks, that type of thing, those items become more important, especially in the ultra late game.
Is there any item in particular that in this tournament seems to have shone out more than others?
Well, mobility. You need blink 4-stars. You need to be able to be, even if you're not a very mobile hero, you have to make yourself mobile for escape, for initiation, all those good things. It's just, for me, mobility and disable is the key factors, especially in this meta, because it's it's a fighting game. It's a fighting meta. It's not so much, we're gonna farm for protect one strategy. It's really not like that anymore. And when you do see those games, we've seen a couple of those games this tournament, but this current meta is more of the fighting, self-sustaining supports, roaming ganking supports, fighting carries, like mids that can control the entire game, that type of thing. That's that type of drafting right now.
Okay. Something we've seen fall off though, because she was mentioning that 4-stars have become very important, and something that I just realized is as we've seen more 4-stars being picked up, we've seen less Earthshaker bans, less Sand King picks, and less Clockwork picks. All heroes which can be really affected by Sand King, by 4-stars. Yeah, you initiate with these heroes, the enemy team just 4-stars the guy 2 or 3 times, he's completely out of danger, and your initiation is useless. So I think that's probably a thing that has changed a lot of the drafting.
Yeah, and I mean, especially on supports, you need those Glimmer Capes and 4-stars.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so important.
Like we saw yesterday that Quaddle, he skipped getting the Ags early. Like we didn't speak about it in the draft. What should he do in order to get the game going if you can't necessarily buy Ags as an Ice Broker? And the first thing he did, instant for buy of the 4-star.
4-star.
Yeah, 4-star first, and he's like, I'll take care of everything later. And yeah, that's actually been, I think that's the item of the tournament. Like we've even seen some heroes buy Blink. Like there was one game where the one Earthshaker game we saw, he went for 4-star first before even getting the Blink Dagger. So it's been 4-star, 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 just ways to extend the team fight. And I think it also, what it allows you to do in the one game that we saw from eNergy yesterday, the one that they lost versus APG, where they were on the high ground, right? Chosen One was like force attacking on the high ground. He got stunned, but just before he got stunned, he turned just a little bit, expecting to be stunned, but knowing his team would force him out of danger. And then by then, they knew all the ultimates were expanded from APG, then they could go back in thereafter. So it's definitely, yeah, you're right, definitely the item of the tournament.
Yeah, and it's also, sorry to interrupt, man, but it's also like, I think because since the other patch when 4-stars progression changed, like now it's a, ring of regen and, the wizardry staff, it's a bit easier, it makes more sense for supports to pick them up now, and it's a lot easier to build. It gives them nice stats and regen now, like compared to what it used to. So it's a lot better, and you can also, those 2 items, if you want to quickly change your build, you can, because those items do follow up with a lot of different things that are also good on supports. But 4-star for me, Blink 4-star, that type of thing. I mean, we saw for the players with Blinks and 4-stars on the draft, you saw Blink, 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 4-star, 4-star, 4-star. And Magic Stick as well. Early Magic Stick, so important, especially since you cannot level stats anymore.
Yeah. So, at the beginning of the tournament, we described Pulse as more or less being like quenched steel. Incredibly strong, but incredibly brittle.
Yeah.
Because there were rumors of Depi leaving, Depi already making his moves to go onwards from there, not sure to which team. And that's what kind of led us to describe them as a bunch of mercenaries. Now, they've proven the strong part. They're here. They're first, second, or third at this point. This game will determine second or third.
Yeah.
But is there any comment we can make now about how cohesive the team is now? Based on their performance?
Their performance has been very good. They look very cohesive. They're playing well together. But the thing about Dota is that it's a very hard decision to make, right? After a tournament, even if you get top 3, so you get top 3.
Would I do better in another team?
Would you do better, right? And we see even in the international scene, sometimes you have to take the chance. You try something else. You go to a different team. You see if you can do better. Often it doesn't work out, but you have to try. You have to see. You really have to think about how you at your best here, or can you be better somewhere else? And we don't know. Like at Islam, not long ago, that decision was made, well, somewhat made for him, but the decision was made for him to try and see where else he can get better. And it's been great at XTC, but clearly all of them want to be number one, right? Number two can only satiate you for so long. And even WRG for a while, like even they had to change a player eventually in order to get the results that they really needed to get.
Yeah.
And
Who did
maybe
they change out?
Dom used to play offlane. Like back then, Chadawi was playing carry, and then no, Chadawi it was weird. Like
What a change they made.
and then yeah, so Chadawi went to offlane. Dom left the team, and then they got Walp, and Walp was game changing.
Yeah.
I think actually Walp is like for me, as great as Castaway is, I think consistently Walp is the best player on WRG. So they need that change helped them, right? It made all the difference in the world. Will it do the same for XTC and or Depi as an individual? Like that's for them to decide, and it's hard. Like and sometimes you can't really necessarily take it back all the time, you know. Sometimes you can. Sometimes it works out. You can go back to your old team, but not often can you.
Do you think the result of this game might affect the decisions of the players within XTC to either split up and look for greener pastures elsewhere, or not?
Well, you know, it's really up to them in the end, but if they are deciding to leave, they're really not showing it. And as we said in the beginning of this tournament, when we had a similar question, it's just at the end of the day, they're professionals. So even if one or two of them are leaving after this tournament, they're surely not letting it affect what's happening today or yesterday. But going to your point as well, I mean, I think the most evident player in that regard, I think, is Filthy Frank. I mean, he's been in DC at the beginning of the year. Then he moved to, I believe, APG. Then he moved to eNergy for the last QVS Gaming tournament. This tournament he was playing for Bravado. So I feel like he's also one of those players that are, you know, testing the waters, see where he fits best. So it's, you know, it's a general thing. But I think once you find that the five-man team that you're exceptionally happy with, like WG, they've been with the same players for quite a while now, and it's working well.
Like the old BBD.
Yeah, it's really working well for them. I mean, BBD also did a few roster changes in those 5 years, you know, but it's once they got to, you know, players that they're comfortable with, then they stick together and they work extremely well. So I think it is finding that team synergy. Like I think with APG at the moment, they're also trying to find that carry player that fits with them. And that's what I feel like Conspiracy does fit the bench. And I mean,
that's also something we can't ignore, the fact that other teams will also want to be the best, right?
Yeah.
So if another team says, hey, listen, if somebody else says, hey, listen, I'm putting together this team of 4 players, we need a 5th, you know, and then you look at the names, you're like, wow, these are all really good players. Maybe it's players I've always wanted to play with. Then it like kind of affects your mentality, like, will you stay with your team, or do you want to try something else new with them? So like the shuffle period is always ultra confusing because anything can happen. Everybody goes everywhere. It's very stressful. I think the only team that's definitely not changing anything at all is WRG, but anything else can happen with the other players.
I mean, it's just hard because when you do have that new person on team, no matter how good they are, they still have to get used to your team's play style. And every single person does bring something unique to the team. It just maybe takes a while for the other players to get used to their play style. So it does throw you a bit off balance in some respect. So I think that's where also WG do have the edge because they have had the same team for a lot longer than the rest of these teams. I mean, we've had a roster change recently in both XTC and eNergy. They're all playing with new players.
Definitely. Well, that brings us to the inevitable question, especially my little personal gripe with Dota. The battle of the supports. Now, we've already espoused the importance of the position 4 in a team.
Position 5 as well. It's
Position
huge.
5 as well.
Yeah.
How much can you do with so little?
Yeah.
Brown boots and maybe a 4-staff if you get really lucky. But we've got 2 really, really good teams here. Supports on either side, really, really good.
Yeah.
Which ones do you pick?
eNergy supports.
Yeah.
Odu Habibi's been pretty good. I do like I was saying yesterday. Like we spoke about how I think Dota and Dai has been the best individual support player.
Yes.
But as a support
definitely.
pair, Habibi Odu, like 149 assists each. So combined, they have nearly 300 kills that they've helped facilitate for their team without even their own involvement.
And do you think
sure
about it?
they've died a lot?
That's like, you know, out of this
That's a
world.
lot of,
That is
even
a
with
lot.
long games, that's a lot of kills.
That is a lot of kills.
I think Odu's died the most, with the like of the top big
Position
teams.
5 though,
But
dude.
position
Yeah.
it's like whatever. He just goes in, creates space, does what he needs to do.
Based on what you're saying, if it comes down to the supports and the performance of the supports, it's Ian's game to lose.
Oh, it's the duo of Habibi and Odie, because remember, they dominated the scene together for half a decade. And yeah, they haven't played together in a team for quite a while.
I'm not letting you sidestep this one.
No, I'm saying...
If it comes down to the supports,
No, I'm not saying that.
Does EN win it hands down?
I'm just saying that I agree with Snake, because Dota and Dai, if you look at individual playstyle, I feel like he's been the better support, but the duo together, eNergy's definitely got the edge there.
So this is harder for you, because I think eNergy's going to win, so I'm happy to say eNergy.
I do feel like XTC will most likely be the second team.
Okay, but not because of their support?
Thing is, at the end of the day, your supports do have a lot to do with the game, but when it comes down to it, it's it's a team as a whole, and how consistent you are as a team.
Yeah, she's right though. It's still a team game. Like, as much as two players can make all the difference in the world, there's still three others that you have to consider. It's
two players does not a team make.
Sadly not. One player does not a team make. Yeah. You know, you can't just win off the mid lane, which is
why it's not just the Deppy show, or on the other side of the coin, any of the boys from EN, because most of them are amazing.
Yeah.
It's not just the Adastum show, it's XTC versus EN. Mm. So, if it doesn't come down to the supports, usually we look to the carries. And who's got the upper hand here?
That's hard. I think it's difficult because eNergy has been swapping between Strike and Chosen One to see who actually plays the carry position. Yeah. Chosen One's he's always been playing carry, but sometimes he's been playing it mid this tournament, which is like a little bit odd for them. So, I don't know. I feel like Chosen One is a little bit more versatile than Adastam overall. I think he's picked more heroes. I'll have to like find out for you, but like it's
no problem. We certainly have the time as the draft is well underway. So we were talking about what we can expect from a draft here. It's best of 3. Not likely to see a cheese strat straight out the gate.
No, not with the best of 3.
Maybe we do see one just to get that one extra bagged game.
Again, I feel like these teams want to, fight each other mano on mano. They're not going to do some cheap strats.
Not going to try some sucker punch. Or
no, unless like they really are,
Some last pick anti-mage.
Last pick anti-mage is not cheese. That's game-winning strats.
Yeah, that's game-winning. It's game-breaking, game-winning.
What's the difference? Go on.
And cheese strat is literally 5 heroes geared towards, or 3 or 4 heroes geared towards one purpose.
So I'm pretty glad that they ban out this Nyx Assassin from eNergy.
Yeah.
They've got like 2 really good Nyx players. No. Chelsea can play like this Nyx Assassin, can put it on Habibi. Even Odie obviously used to play Nyx a lot, so glad for that. And also, you can't leave Spirit Breaker against XTC. I think Spirit Breaker, Clockwork are probably their best duo. I think if the fact that these 2 heroes are banned, Night Stalker and Spirit Breaker, probably XTC now, with their pick, will be looking for either Rasta or Clockwork to just secure that position already at the beginning of the game for Dota and Dai. A support hero which can have a massive impact with and change a lot of the game. But that being said, eNergy played a lot of Rasta yesterday, so I think XTC is thinking about whether or not it's worth it to ban Rasta and then potentially give away. You probably give away Coddle, like you can give away the Clockwork as well, which eNergy has used. So
certainly.
And they've used it to great effect. I mean, also Dota and Dai has been exceptional on these Clockwork this tournament as well. But the top teams have been favoring the Rasta lately, so. And Earthshaker's banned out again, so we're not going to see him. But it's nice to see that they are thinking about the Earthshaker.
I mean, it's lost 3 times this tournament. Only has a 25% win rate out of all its 4 picks, so doesn't really seem like. But it's always banned. I think it's one of those things where heroes that are always banned also tend to have low win rates, because when you finally pick them, you haven't played it in so long that you're like, what do I do now?
What do I do?
How do I control this hero?
I was speaking to some of the boys yesterday, and they did say, like, the Earthshaker, it doesn't matter if you do exceptionally bad, you just need one. Just one.
You also still have a very heavy impact, even if you don't perform particularly well, as the Shadow Shaman comes out to play.
We saw that happening. I mean, these teams do tend to pick these type of supports.
This is now the most picked hero in this tournament, 8 games.
Yeah.
Fairly high win rate as well. It's won 4 of them, for 4 of the 7 games that it's played. So it's doing well, does what it needs to do. You move forward, you drop down, you push. Also, it kind of fits the playstyle of how eNergy like to play Dota, being able to get an immediate kill, and then get yourself into position to take towers. So Coddle comes out. Now the decision is made, do you take Clockwork as well? Because I actually expected this to be the other way around, that eNergy would take Coddle and then XTC would take Rasta, but I think eNergy would rather play with Rasta on their side than have Coddle. Like, I think with Coddle, you just
Or they
like,
have
well,
another plan.
But I mean,
they could have another plan for
if you
as well.
think about it, Shadow Shaman Ags with the ×4 play, ×4 wards. I mean, even if you end up losing the fight at the enemy racks, you're going to take a tower or an easy racks just because it's so strong. So I mean, even if you lose the fight, you still end up getting your objective, which that's why the support is so good, and he's self-sustaining because he can find farm on the map. You know, he can get that quick Aghanims, he can get that quick Blink Dagger, whatever he needs, and still buy wards. And you know,
I'm pretty sure the reason they picked this hero is because it has the coolest teleport animation. You know, that little dance. It looks cool, man.
And he's also got quite a good item. I mean, it turns him into a llama or something, I remember, or goat.
I think it's a goat.
Is it a goat?
Hex, yeah.
That hex, yeah. It's just such a good hero because it's got such great disable. It's got an amazing nuke in the form of the Ether Shock. And here we see Sanking. So we're not going to see a Chelsea Sanking. And Legion Commander is still in the pool, so maybe he decides to go with that comfort pick here.
Could go LC. I think they might actually have to pick or ban Doxia to not give away the Doxia Sanking. Because actually, I'm not 100% sure if this is going to be a support or offlane Sanking coming out from XTC.
We have seen a Doxia Sanking before in this
tournament. Yes, we have.
It wasn't incredible. It wasn't, you know,
okay.
game-ending stuff. It was incredibly difficult, but wasn't game-ending.
I still feel like the Ricky Doxia is still probably one of some of the most disgusting combos as
Ricky
well.
Doxia is pretty strong.
Yeah, it is very strong. We haven't seen it. We haven't seen the Ricky Doxia.
Who did Doxia lose to yesterday, that Doxia Sanking game? Oh, they lost to Troll. Oh, no, that's fine. Like, Doxia's not winning.
It's not Doxia's fault.
It's not Doxia's fault. It's like picking an Oracle against him, you know? You can't really do much.
If you lose, it's kind of expected. It's something that happens.
That's also something I'm surprised. Like, I know the Oracle's not as good as it used to be, but it's still amazing. And we've got some really good Oracle players here. We have an Omni Knight. Do you think that's an offlane Omni Knight?
Probably. This hero kind of sucks in the support capacity. You need so many levels to make this hero viable and to actually have a good time playing this. So I'm pretty glad they do this. I'm surprised XTC banned out Venom. It's one of the best heroes in the laning phase. This is Omni Knight.
Yeah.
But Omni Venom does sound a bit cancerous. But now that the Omni Knight is out, Wilson is right. Now they have to actually worry about cheese strats. Now you have to be like, okay, what heroes will just immediately destroy us with this Omni Knight? You probably ban Viper now. You kind of have to at some point if you're XTC. Giving away Viper Omni is not
something
great.
You want to do, yeah. And I don't believe we've seen Chelsea play Omni Knight yet this tournament.
I don't think so, no.
He is the offlaner. It's just, for me, it doesn't really fit his play style, but I mean, to put Omni Knight anywhere else right now doesn't really make sense, does it?
It kind of has to be there. They did ban it, like I think APG banned it once, and Pulse also banned it once against eNergy. So they've been targeting this Omni Knight from eNergy against Chelsea, so that they probably have seen him play it, probably in some scrims or whatever. So they're like, nah, we don't want to have to deal with that.
And just looking at, like, you know, heroes that he conventionally plays, the Sand King, the Nyx Assassin, the Legion, it's just, you know, that transitioning into an Omni Knight just for me doesn't fit his playstyle, but I can't see this Omni Knight going anywhere else, and I certainly don't see him as a position 4.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Needs too much money.
He's too much levels as well, just to be effective.
So XTC is going to be playing Queen of Pain, maybe?
Oh, they ban out the Death Prophet. No, they ban out.
Or maybe Lina. They're like one of these spellcasting heroes because they're banning out silences and instant disables that can come out. So Lina, Queen of Pain, OD.
Well, silence is actually still in the pool here. They did ban out the Death Prophet, which eNergy have taken games with the Death Prophet before.
Oh, I think they're happy to give away Silencer, though. eNergy's been losing when they play Silencer, so I think XTC is like, guys, go ahead, pick this hero. Every time you pick it, you lose, so we're fine with you playing it.
Which is quite surprising, because Silence is one of those heroes with a very high win rate. Very, very high.
Silencer. We can actually find out. Let's see how Silence has been doing this tournament.
Thanks, Sargon. Shout out.
Good track record, I believe, with one of the games of EN.
So Silence has been picked 5 times. It's only won twice.
Only won twice in this tournament.
Yeah, I'm so happy.
Surprised.
I hate that hero.
Why?
Because you know how annoying it is.
It's so annoying. That hero is just...
You run into a fight, you know, you're ready to get off your spells, then the enemy team global, then you just die. And you're like, oh,
it's like,
okay.
Oh, sorry, you wanted to do something? Silence.
Then the entire team just all chats cry baby. It sounds super annoying.
Oh, here we
go. Here he comes.
Right,
so, Sargon, number 6. 6.
All right, so this is number 6.
Yeah. Ooh, Prophet. I was waiting for this from eNergy.
They played this versus, was it XD? Yeah, it was against XD that they played this Nature's Prophet strat. That game, they also had I think that particular game, I'm not sure, I think it was support Nature's Prophet, wasn't it? I don't remember 100%, but they definitely also had a Leshrac that game, that go around.
That Sprout into heal is also really not fun.
No. Also, this means that at any given stage of the game, eNergy will always have the +1 gank potential. Now it's extremely important for XTC. It's probably going to be Doom Bunny playing the silencer. No, wait, yeah, this is some support silencer, I think, offlane Sand King. So I think it's super important that he gets 6 as fast as possible.
Like, I feel like sometimes if you play him effectively, he can have a better effect than a Spirit Breaker, because not only could you can gank and you can trap people, but you can also split push. So, I mean, it has that rat factor as well.
Right, so
and here becomes the Brute
support
so support Brute Master.
Blitzing through their draft, and XTC putting so much time into it.
Okay, so what about in mid-Nature's Prophet then? Because, I mean, we have position 5 on the Shadow Shaman, position 4 in the form of the Brewmaster, maybe an off-lane Omni Knight, and then possibly a mid-Prophet, because I don't see him going as a carry.
I think you probably actually have Strike play this Nature's Prophet, and then you put Chosen One in the mid lane or something else that does more damage at this point. Also, like but that being said, the Nature's Prophet matchup versus Necrophos isn't too terrible.
No, it isn't.
You can't level up the treants at all because Necrophos just queues through them.
Just easy farm for him as well.
Okay, so both Necro, Nature's Prophet, and Brewmaster have 100% win rates this tournament.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, if you have Silencer, Necro, and Coddle, you can't allow Anti-Mage to be the last pick. Also, it's really rough to lane with if you're playing Sand
King. It has a 100% win rate now.
It does have a 100% win rate, but I mean, banning out the Anti-Mage is a given. I mean, it's good against pretty much everything in their lineup, so if they don't ban it, it's going to get picked. And they have to do it, yeah.
They need damage now on the side of XTC, so their mid hero, this mid Necro is going to be the thing. Razor going to be the final ban from eNergy, so do they want to go for like maybe a melee mid, banning it out against Razor? I'm kind of not sure though, because they probably expect that this Necro's going mid anyway. I'm not sure if they're thinking about it in the safe lane capacity.
I feel like they need a little bit more damage than a Nature's Prophet and an Omni Knight. So I feel like they need some hard carry here. I think Nature's Prophet could do quite well mid against this Necro. So or you can put a Prophet somewhere else and have a mid Brewmaster, because I mean we haven't seen that in a long time. But I mean that hero is versatile. But Brewmaster, for me, in the capacity that eNergy played, is better as a support.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to Tiny?
Tiny became bad.
Yeah.
What are you supposed to do, man? And also, like, I'm not a lot of teams that's comfortable playing IO anymore, and I think you kind of need IO. Like, we've seen teams experiment with Tiny. Like, without IO, it doesn't really seem as good. You kind of need that hero. What do you guys think of SF here? I think they need a natural BKB carrier and a hero that can actually deal with Necrophos in the mid lane. If it comes down to that, and natural hot carry.
There's not real, I mean, yeah, you can get ganked by Coddle and Sand King, but it's not the scariest combination in the world to worry about, because SF generally worries about early ganks. But in this situation, he's not going to get ganked that easily. And also, SF is a nice second carry potential. Here we go.
It is an SF indeed.
Yeah, he doesn't have to really worry about being ganked, so also, definitely a good choice here.
This XTC draft right now is very static, with the exception of the Sand King. That's the only hero that like jumps forward. So they need to like wait for a lot of the pressure to come out from eNergy, and that like really favors SF, and it's Radiant SF. So Chosen One can, and this one of his like signature heroes, he can farm like out of control on this.
Oh, Storm Spirit, that is a good pick.
I'm super surprised that they actually went all the way in for the Storm Spirit, but I'm actually
it is a good pick. It is a very good pick. I mean, you've got the Prophet you can jump on. It's going to stop the ratting. It's going to take care of the Shadow Shaman. And so he can be anywhere on the map.
As the players.
Against SF, it's also great.
As the players assign themselves those heroes, I'm going to need your final predictions.
Ooh.
eNergy.
Yeah.
eNergy.
They've got the better draft here, but I still
changed your mind.
They've got the better draft here, but
those poor boys from XTC.
We'll see what they do with it.
They lost you.
Huh?
Unless Storm Spirit just goes ham, which he can.
Yeah,
which he can.
It's good.
Well, then that's it. It's unanimous on the panel.
No.
eNergy expected to win this one. No? Have you changed your mind?
I haven't changed my mind. I'll stick with XTC, but I think that eNergy have the better draft. Let's see what happens.
Right. So, one for XTC and one for eNergy eSports. It's anyone's game. It's over to the Shoutcasters. Go ahead, have some fun with this game.
Good morning, EGE. I am Jibber, and I'm joined by Scarpy. This is going to be a hectic game. It is the semi-finals. eNergy went through the gauntlet yesterday with a ton of games yesterday. And XTC had a little bit of an easy run to get here.
Yeah, they played a lot less games, but I mean, eNergy got a lot of time to really get some practice in at the LAN event, and yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, the panel said that they feel like eNergy have the better draft, but I think there is this Deppy Storm. That is can really be the thorn in the side of everything that the panel were predicting there. So I kind of favor XTC right now, actually, off the bat. I like the Sand-King. I think once he gets level 6 online, they can really look to make some movements around the map. He can do a lot with very little. So I'm actually quite happy with XTC's draft right now.
So you feeling an ecstasy? We'll see how it actually pans out. eNergy has done the hard work to get themselves here. XTC had a pretty easy run. So without further ado, let's go around and do the introductions, as one of these teams in the series will earn themselves 3rd place, and the winners will go on to meet WRG in the finals.
Go ahead, have some fun with this game.
Yeah, so
Good morning.
one of the really important things here is this is Strike playing over on the Omni Knight that we must touch on. Of course, he's going to be playing on that core Omni Knight. It's interesting. This is something the Brewmaster is going to be on the position 4 by Habibi. So it's pretty. This position 4 Brewmaster, we've seen a little bit of it and it's pretty good. I want to see a little bit more of it though. Let's see how they're going to manage to transition that into the later parts of the game.
So Habibi going to be playing the Brewmaster. Chosen One going to be playing the SF. In the off lane will be Chelsea on the Nature's Prophet. Bot lane are going to be protected out by Strike. And Odu, last but not least, will be playing the Shadow Shaman.
Yeah, going on to the opposing side, Dota and Die actually finding a D-Ward here on the top. And it seems like it's going to be a bit of a dual lane between Keeper of the Light and Sand-King. That's a pretty strong lane, very difficult one to deal with. There's a dual laning in the mid, making sure that the Shadow Fiend doesn't get too much out of this lane, just by putting a lot of pressure on him. Habibi's also going to have to rotate himself in. So the Silence as well as the Storm Spirit played by Deppy as well as Doom Bunny. Top lane is a 1v1 lane. Adastam going on the Necrophos up against Chelsea over on the Nature's Prophet. And we'll see how that's going to pan out for them.
Well, that panel did mention spawning the treants is going to be easy food for Adastam to actually pick up a little bit of farm there. Going to give him a little bit of extra, or give him extra XP in that lane. Do you think it's going to favor Adastam this lane a little bit more?
I think Adastam's fine with this lane. So there's extra creep for him to get the stacks up so that he can get a little bit of extra regen as well as mana regen and help him in that situation there.
So I'm looking at the mid lane. They have actually jeweled it out. Doom Bunny's trying to protect Deppy here. Habibi going to have to keep himself there. Now, we spoke about Brewmaster. We haven't seen him much in this tournament just yet. And players have been telling me that his drunken haze, completely zones out and denies last hits on the heroes. It makes it very difficult for those CS to start stacking up.
Yeah, Storm is still okay. He can sort of get last hits with his static remnant, so it's not going to hurt him too much. The actual fact is the fact that Habibi has to be in this lane instead of maybe contesting Adastam for farm. That would probably be better for him, but seeing that they do dual lane this, it's definitely hurting Habibi's sort of impact on this game currently.
Well, I mean, if they try and slow down Deppy and they try and get SF in the advantage, they didn't couple it up with the Clockwork, which generally we've seen that combo coming out, so the SF plus the Clockwork just being able to get those Necromasteries up. They didn't choose that, so probably Habibi had to stick around the mid just to try and ensure that Necromastery. Bot lane, though, we do have Strike taking a little bit of a harassment here. Scarnet, Dota, and Die trying to close the gap on Strike. This may be first blood. There comes the Illuminate. Gonna be first blood. Dota and Die on the Coddle, taking him to school, taking down the Omni Knight, and being punished for his sins.
Yeah, this is a tricky dual lane to be going up against, but in the top lane, Habibi as well as Odu have snuck behind the lines here. They might want to see if they can catch something onto Adastam, and also these treants are going to give pretty good idea as to what is in the general area, so they know Doom Bunny's here. He could be potentially a kill for them. So here we go. They are going to go for a movement.
Well, here they come. The two Basher bros. Odu's in the vicinity. There's the shackles. Habibi has to run around the trees. Can they get close enough? Taking a lot of damage from the treants. And Adastam goes down, losing the core for the side of XTC. And Doom Bunny just says, listen, I got to get out of here. Nothing I can do. Odu's still taking quite a chunk of damage. Got cursed up and losing a lot of HP. Does have a clarity if needed.
Yeah, they trade that one out, but Adastam taking a tumble there, Strike also falling. I suppose it's still not too bad, the fact that they got first blood for the side of XTC. They'll be happy about that. But yeah, the lanes are very, very interesting. I haven't seen a core Omni Knight in ages, so I really want to see what kind of build Strike will be going for here, if he's going to go for some sort of utility or maybe even a right-click build. We'll have to see what he decides, but mid lane, gank, C1's dead.
He's going to be pretty much done and dusted. Durandai gets a nice rotation coming from the back. And now a nice rotation coming out, putting good old Chosen One in a little bit of a sticky position here.
Yeah, and
losing those Necromasteries as well is never a good thing.
Yeah, that's really hard on him right now, especially due to the fact that Deppy's doing so well in lane. He's got topping up the last hit shots by quite a significant margin, so that's a very big concern for them. If this Storm just keeps this up and doesn't die in lane, they are going to have a very major concern, because these items are just going to come online very, very quick.
Now, we've spoken about Strike on the Omni Knight. How does it scale into the late game? I mean, I haven't seen a carry Omni Knight in ages. And with the Necrophos on the opposing team, you've got the Repel, not going to be able to drop the Reaper. But do you think that maybe forces Strike to throw out the Repel on an ally as opposed to himself?
Is under attack.
I think if he's going to be the core and the individual carrying most of the net worth, I think he will want to probably keep it on himself. But it's definitely a scary thing. I mean, Repel's still pretty good up against the Scythe, because the Scythe's still good up against the Repel because it does lock you down for that period of time. Yes, it won't do the damage, but you still get locked down, and it allows your team. But actually, mid lane, they do finally find a kill onto Deppy, and C1 will get that one. He'll be very happy about that. That means he's right back up with the Necromasteries, and good rotations coming out from both Habibi and Odu.
Now, can Repel be debuffed by Diffusal Blade? I know in the past it can. At the moment, Repel cannot be dispelled by a Diffusal Blade. Am I correct? Please tell me, Mr. Scops. Can we dispel Repel?
So you used to be able to. So you definitely were on the right page, but unfortunately they have changed their... Actually, Doom Bunny's going to go down here. The one thing that you can dispel is the Guardian Angel, but the Repel no longer can be dispelled.
So it's going to be a really good ability up against Adestam on the Necro. Going to be something that is not going to be dispellable. Going to be a little bit of a problem for the side of XTC to kind of deal with, especially if he's on point with the Repel. Ooh. And because of that snap point, it's going to be really difficult to get that to happen.
Yeah.
Or the cast point, you know, there's that delay between the Reaper and the culling point.
Yeah, this lane is pretty hard for Strike to actually find CS. They're being very aggressive on them. Like I said, this is a very strong dual lane, one that you don't really want to go toe-to-toe with all the time. He made an okay trade considering he was going up against you, but his supports are rather focusing on making sure that the SF has a good time and making sure that the top lane goes well. Because really, the major right clicks are going to be coming out from Chelsea here. Nature's Prophet does tremendous amount of damage. If we look early on, he's already doing well over... actually exactly 100 damage, so he's hitting extremely hard. He can farm very quickly, and if he has a good time in lane, that'll be pretty good for him. Where Strike can keep himself alive. He's pretty low though, needs to be careful. Rotations have come in from C1 though.
C1 does get there, the TP comes out. Is it going to be enough to actually bring him down? And good old Durandai gets himself out of it.
Yeah, so they'll be happy about that. Strike can assist C1 with just clearing the stack. Pretty good XP though for Strike. Once he hits level 6, he'll feel a lot more safe in lane at least. Oh,
he does get him. He could get a kill. And an easy walk up as Skynet takes Strike down. That was a little bit unfortunate there for Strike.
Yeah, that was
easy rotation. He just literally walked in, got the bow strike, one right click, and goodbye, sweet prince.
Yeah. So apparently we do have a replay of that. And, I mean, he's just assisting. This is just good game sense from Skynet. I suppose he had vision of them walking in that general direction, knowing that there might be a stack up there. So, but still, very good game sense, realizing that Chosen One had rotated and knowing there's a stack there. More than likely going to be contesting that. So, good work there by him.
Top lane, a little bit of a tussle. The Reaper does come out from Adestam, not doing enough damage. Odu's going to be able to walk away. But Deppy comes in from afar and takes down Odu. Adestam fighting under the tier 1. And a lot of the HP being lost here by Habibi, as Adestam has to get himself out of there. But Chosen One is in the vicinity. Deppy has very low mana. He drops down the Remnant, does pop it out. Now Deppy is stuck. The Treants are trying to find him out. as the side of EN. Can they locate Deppy? And Deppy is going to go down, so losing the Shadow Shaman for the Storm Spirit. Not a worthwhile trade in my eyes.
Yeah, I suppose he got the kill.
Oh, bot lane though, hold that thought. Shackles come out onto Skynet, drops the Sandstorm, and they are left in their hands wanting as Skynet just walks away. That was a big dive there from Deppy.
Yeah, very interesting here. Strike didn't opt to actually get a point into Guardian Greaves, rather going for the Dagon Aura, just because he can chase down Skynet in lane and contest him a little bit better, which is fair. I suppose Guardian Angel, it's fine if he doesn't have a level in it right now, but it would have made him feel a little bit more safe. But realizing it's a lot of magical damage coming out in terms of Repel might be the next point he goes for here. Still not having a point in that either, so very aggressive sort of scaling or points being put into the abilities here for Strike. So if they rotate on him, they could potentially kill him once again, but he seems to be doing pretty well in lane.
What kind of item progression can we expect on Strike? Ooh, a lot of damage taken by Skynet. That level 3 purification is doing a lot of work. But as Strike is building into that core position, what kind of items? He's got himself the arcane boots. What can we expect further?
Well, I'm actually not 100% sure because we haven't seen too much Omni Knight on a core position, mostly on the off lane, where you'll see things like potentially Hand of Midas into some sort of right-clicking build, but he still might just be going utility, somewhat like we saw of the Underlord yesterday when Pulse was running that, where he still went Guardian Greaves pipe and just got big itemizations to sort of buff his team up. So we'll see if that's the direction he might be going in. Could even be the Sanjin Yasha build, old Sanjin Yasha build. But
I've seen some Omni Knights when they do try and play this position is generally pick up a Radiance. Now, that might be in the past, and I haven't seen an Omni Knight being played as a core position of late. So could it be that? But Skynet, he just gets the burrow off onto Chosen One. Can't get the raise off. Skynet may be able to just get out of here without any casualties, but Chosen One may try and chase him down. No, he's going to return to the top lane, mid lane. And yeah, kind of... evened it out as that Battle Strike just managed to hold down the good old SF.
Yeah, Chosen One rotation forced. It's pretty good for XTC. Skynet not dying there is definitely a big plus for them. So, still the Shadow Fiend is doing quite well, topping out network shots. So of course, his ability to clear out stacks has definitely been helping him out there. But even the Storm's now falling back into the jungle. Got the soaring up, so it's going to be pretty consistent. Seems like he is going for the Bloodstone first, not going for the Silence, which is absolutely fine. I think Deppy feels pretty confident that he won't be dying too much in this game, and not necessarily requiring the Silence to secure kills. He can rely heavily on his team.
Just having a look, we spoke about maybe the Omni Knight getting the Hand of Midas. All that thought though, top lane. The sheep comes out, the silence comes in, the TPs are done, but Hastags goes down. Can they find Doom Bunny in the sidelines? They don't get a 4-man rotation in the top lane. They are looking to take another objective, probably this tier 1, looking at Divine on the menu. Bot lane, let's take a quick look here. Looks like there's a little bit of a rotation here as well. And it's just going to be an Illuminate Strike actually hiding here in the sidelines. Realizes that they might try and do something, which they did. As, Ian, they're going to take the top lane. And crazy stat that came up on the screen from our good man Sargon up on the rafters there, that Omni Knight has had a 100% success rate for eNergy for the past 3 games that they played.
It's very interesting. I still... They're doing very well here currently. I mean, the SF's farming up well. The Nature's Prophet, something that we haven't really spoken about, is doing extremely well. He's going to have his Orchid up in pretty decent timing. I actually thought he was going to be going for the drums, but he opted to go for the Orchid instead here. So just getting the casual bracer just for those extra stats. But, yeah, I can believe that. Omni Knight's a very strong hero. I think heavily underrated. I suppose a lot of teams view him maybe as a tier 2 pick, but well, he's looking pretty strong.
Here comes the Death Squad in the bot lane. Strike going to pay with his life, and the Reaper comes out at a stand, dropping the hammer, taking down Strike. Habibi TP's in, but it may just be to his death. Silence has been used out, being surrounded here from the side of XTC. And the Illuminate comes in, and good old Habibi drops.
Yeah, Habibi holding on to his ultimate just a little bit too long there maybe, but I think he would have still had a difficult time sort of escaping from there. But finally they do get a decent trade here, XTC. They are going to bring down a tier 1 tower of their own.
Attack.
But all at the same time, the Storm Spirit is utilizing the space that's been created by his team.
Is under attack.
He too will be pretty happy about this. Still got a little bit of a way to go to catch up to that SF. But I mean, a Storm can do a lot of work with once he does get the Bloodstone online.
Now, Storm Spirit, the side of EN don't have a lot of lockdown for him. They've got probably the shackles and the sheep just in forms of the Shadow Shaman, but if he can't get those disables on, how are they going to lock him down? The Nature's Prophet trying to build into that Orchid. Is it going to be too late, or is Deppy going to get to the point where he's just going to start accelerating his farm and not be able to shut him down?
Yeah, I think they do have decent lockdown. I mean, if the Rustler's there or the Shadow Shaman's there, he's got pretty decent control for the Storm Spirit. But the Storm Spirit, once again, has Global Silence to help him get out of these situations. As soon as he's in an awkward spot, Global Silence comes out and he can just escape very quickly, and they'll have no way of locking him down. And I do expect that he will even go Lincolns in this game, so that Orchid is not going to really be too much of a concern for him. So it's going to be very, very difficult for eNergy to control him. But right now, they're not doing too terribly. But I mean, look at the Storm has caught... He's sort of caught up about 600, 700 net worth to C1 in a very short space of time. Just that little bit of space that's been created for him by his team.
Now he's going to start accelerating really quick. He's going to try and make his way towards that Bloodstone, start stacking up those charges really quickly. He's about $1,000 off, well, strike that. It's about 1,100 gold that he needs to finish off his Bloodstone. Going to get him a big advantage in this game. He's going to make him tanky, going to give him that mana pool, and he's going to be able to zoom around the map. But yeah, Oju gets the sheep off. The shackles is there. C1 going to clean him out. The razors are good. And Dota and Die seems he's taking his later part of his name literally.
Yeah, but yeah, you said Strike that. Strike has now finally got his Hand of Midas up, and we'll see. He might still go into the Radiance.
Do you think this is too greedy though?
He still might go the Radiance. I think this is, if people do build the Radiance build, they usually do go the Midas at this stage. I did want to see if he was going to go this direction. It's also going to help him secure levels. Levels is very important for the Omni Knight. He gets sort of decent talentry. He gets 100 damage at 20, which he could opt for. Even the 6 mana region, they're all pretty good. But just having extra points up into Guardian Angel is pretty good if you can get that down before the Global Silence does come out in these team fights.
Well, looking at the side of eNergy, they've got 2 Hand of Midases on their team. They've got it on the Nature's Prophet, got himself a Hand of Midas, as well as the Omni Knight. You don't feel this is too greedy and may actually bite them?
Okay.
Because they don't have enough itemization just in the early parts of the game. If they get to the late game, then sure. But do you think it was a good plan?
I think it's fine, because one of the things about Omni Knights is that he's innately difficult to bring down, even if he doesn't have items. That's why he is quite a good support and a good offlaner at that. But he's also answered the question that I've been wondering, because he does want to get down his abilities during Global Silence, so he's actually going for the Guardian Greaves from here, which makes a lot of sense because he can break the Global Silence on him by using that. And that's going to be quite essential for him. So the Hand of Midas is just going to help him get there a lot quicker, seeing that they sort of sacked him in lane. The supports didn't really spend too much time on him. He had to keep himself alive. He did a pretty decent job at that. He did die 3 times, but he hasn't fallen... actually, he has fallen pretty far behind, but the Hand of Midas is going to help him in that aspect. This Keeper of the Light is huge. He's almost got Ags. That is very, very, very scary.
Who has the Ags?
Almost has the Ags, the Keeper of the Light.
Oh, this is going to be absolutely crazy for Ian to deal with. Ags on Keeper of the Light basically gives you healing constantly. And with the Necrophos on the team as well, the amount of healing that XTC is going to be throwing out, how are you going to kill XTC if they got so much sustain?
That's the thing, right? And they have Global Silence. So you want to fight into them, you're going to have a bad time. And you pick something like a Brewmaster, that's usually your plan. You create some space with Chelsea to split push around the map. But you're fighting into something like this, these fights are not going to be good exchanges. So they definitely need BKBs. They need a lot of things to be going their way right now, eNergy. The SF, he's starting to deal with decent damage. He's already going for the BKB, really understanding the situation that his team has found themselves in. and adapting thusly. So C1 could be the turning point for his side. As long as he doesn't misuse the BKB and waits for the global silence before he pops it, he should be fine.
Is this going to force out Mantas from the SF? Do you think that's one of the items he's going to have to maybe look at prioritizing just to take that silence off?
I don't think so. I think he'll be just fine with the BKB. C1 shouldn't make that error. It would be very unlike him to pop the BKB before the global silence unless he realizes that he's in a bad spot. And if he does use it before the global silence, it's going to be for escaping purposes. So I don't think he'll be forced into Manta. I think he'll still probably go Butterfly, potentially, maybe some other core items. Manta's okay, but at this stage of the game, you don't really want to be going back for a Manta style.
Habibi has got one of the Shadow Omelette, but hold that thought, we do have a little bit of a hunting party happening here. The team has smoked up. They've got a couple of minutes to try and find out the target. The blink comes in. There's the Pirate Strike. Epic going to be used out. The repel from Strike keeping C1 alive. He turns, going to right click, but there comes out the global silence. And the side of XTC going to humble themselves and get themselves out of there. But Odu, he turns it around, gets the sheep off. And good old SK going down, paying for his sins as eNergy punish the side of XTC for being a little bit too aggressive.
Yeah, and I think it's something that we must identify as that Storm said, no, I don't want to be a part of this. Nature's Prophet has Orchid. I'm going to get my Eels first, which I really like. This is something that I should have thought about. Probably. Actually, he's in trouble now. He actually got caught out.
Oh, silence is good. C1 right-clicking him to death, then C1 decimates.
Yeah, so that's a bit of a disaster. He went just too far. He should have backed himself on out there. So bit of a mistake from Deppy. That's also Bloodstone charges lost. It's a really big advantage eNergy have found themselves in. So it's also nighttime, so they can get a lot of advantage out of this. Even though Dota and Die does have that Ags online, it's going to be a problem. But they're actually jumping forward here.
Mid lane's gone. It jumps forward. He gets sheeped out immediately by Odu, saving his teammate Strike. Strike's going to be able to guardian it up. And now Deppy trying to work on Odu in the backline. The Illuminate comes through, not doing enough. They do eventually lose Odu. And Deppy getting himself out of there. They did bring down Scarnet eventually. And good old Dota and Die flying in the skies as C1 takes down good old Dota and Die as EN punish XTC again for playing that aggressive move on Strike in the beginning. Let's have a look again at that gorgeous little symphony.
Yeah, so they jumping forward. It is night time. I think this is a bit of an error from XTC. A good turnaround by Odu to buy a little bit of time for C1 to get in place. Yes, he dies for this and gives away a Bloodstone charge to the Storm, but it's fine. I think eNergy are very happy with this. They're utilizing nighttime very well. I think XTC made an error there, making plays during the night. I think daytime is definitely the time you want to go. You're going to have the vision advantage. You're going to have the heal coming out from the Coddle and everything. And by that time, the Eels is going to be complete on the Storm, so he won't be under threat of getting silenced.
Do you think maybe considering how this part of the game is happening, maybe Deppy should have maybe favored the Orchid rather, that if he jumps on to, say, the Shadow Shaman, because literally the Shadow Shaman would be his natural target. Really quick to bring down, drops the Remnant, maybe 2 right clicks, and you'll decimate Odu. But going with the Bloodstone, maybe gives him more of an HP pool, but he can still be disabled if he doesn't get silenced.
I think Doom Bunny is pretty much his Orchid, right? He's just going to have to global silence every time Storm's like, okay, I'm jumping now, global silence. It's a very long cooldown Orchid at this stage, but I think the Bloodstone, it unfortunately didn't pay off, but I don't think it was the wrong thing entirely to do. It's just a bit unfortunate for him that he had to die in the bot lane. I think it was just a bit of an error. Early morning stuff, it is a bit early, and I don't know how everyone slept last night. I know we all went out, so we'll see. Maybe that's just brushing off the dust right now.
Cobwebs, the cobweb between the ears. I've got to teach you a trick. It's called coffee.
Yeah.
It's amazing what it does for you.
Yeah, like I had some coffee this morning. Still a bit shaky though, but well, should be fine.
Well, there is no earth shaking in this game, so we're going to have to do all the shaking ourselves. What I want to see coming out from the side of XTC, do you think we're going to start only seeing a lot more aggression now from XTC once Deppy maybe has his Orchid? Because to rely on the silencers global, it's going to really, really slow down the death count for XTC, and it's just going to allow eNergy to start excelling ahead because they can constantly fight. Their big ultis, I mean, if they want to take a real big team fight, they just really have to wait for Habibi to have his ulti online. Guardian would be a help, but I see eNergy as being a lot more combat ready to drop at a second, whereas XTC relies a lot on their global silence. Even the Reaper from Necro.
So I think you're quite right. I think the Orchid is going to be go time for the Storm, but I think they're fine with being patient for it. Because they can only fight during the daytime, yes, it's going to be daytime in 20 seconds, but Deppy's gone more defensive in a sense. I mean, you go for a Bloodstone, it's going to give you a lot of HP, a big mana pool, which is going to help him. Oh, they're actually going to go for a player, but because daytime's in 4 seconds, this is definitely what I expect from XTC. They realize, okay, 4 seconds until daytime. These are the kinds of shot calling that you need. So they relocate Deppy in. They have a vision advantage now. They smoke up. So if someone's anywhere, they're going to know before that person has any chance, and they can just quickly jump with the Storm and the global silence, and that's going to be Chelsea.
There we go. The jump is in, and they're going to bring down good old Chelsea on the Nature's Prophet. And Scarnet jumps in. The Requiem from C1 decimates Scarnet, but the healing potential coming out from Dota and I is just too good. Habibi ultis up in the backlines. They do catch out at a stab. This would be a massive kill. They do spin him up in the sky. As in the sidelines, Dota and I trying to get his heal off here with his Illuminate. He pops it down. Deppy trying to get some work onto Strike here. The snakes have been dropped. Adestab still kept alive. The Illuminate healing the side of XTC as Odu gets the shackles off onto Adestab. C1 needs to get those right clicks off. Reaper comes out. Odu goes down. And XTC looking good. 2 down for the side of eNergy. Just at the cost of Scarnet on the SK, and XTC walk away with 1 more kill than the side of eNergy.
Yeah, now we can see the true power of the Ags on the Keeper of the Light. That fight actually looked like it could have just quickly gone the other way for eNergy with that Requiem of Souls, but the heal, the constant sustain that does come out from the Keeper of the Light is just so impossible to fight into. And I think it's really nice for Deppy. He found a couple of Bloodstone charges there, sort of catching up to getting back to 12. His Orchid's now not that far away, so he's definitely happy about that exchange. So yeah, XTC, just using the daytime. I think that's pretty much all they got to do. As long as they utilize daytime efficiently, they will have far better trades in these team fights.
Before the fight broke out, I was thinking, okay, so they're waiting for these big cooldowns and they're waiting for daytime. Do you not think that maybe eNergy should have been the aggressor? Right, it was going to be daytime there, so not at that point. Let's just hold that top lane. Deppy comes in, trying to make a play to Chelsea. He's going to go down 4 around here for the side of XTC. And he's not going to walk away. He's going to go down rather easily.
Yeah. And Dota and Dai's rich. He's got Gem now, so Vision's a big problem during the day. And well, they found someone else, and that's going to be Odu. Sorry, Habibi, and he's going to get sight. So he's down for a very long period of time. In fact, XTC are just so far ahead, they can just look to take multiple objectives, secure Roshan for themselves. Bit Roshan, bit the Aegis over onto Deppy, and he's pretty unkillable.
I just want to show you something. Let's just take a look at the Vision. This is the Vision currently for the Radiant. This is what the Radiant can see. This is what the Dire can see. Look at the vision that Kotl actually provides. There is no one that is going to sneak up on you. There is nothing that is going to come to you before you even know it. And it's going to give such a jump advantage to Deppy to know exactly where the targets that he needs to go onto are.
Fortified.
Yeah, that's one of the things, right? Smoke is just such a big advantage for a team with Keeper of the Light because the vision that he provides is larger than the break distance for Smoke, so you can see the person before there's any chance of them seeing you. That's why daytime movements are just so important. And like I said, now they're just going to take objectives, eNergy on the back foot for the next sort of 40 seconds, so they got really good exchange, a lot of Bloodstones onto XTC. Now they're going to fall back, go farm, secure the next set of items for the next daytime.
And, well, now once daytime goes down, is that maybe the opportunity for EN to get aggressive? Or now is EN on the back foot and they want to defend more? Or do they want to get aggressive? What do you do as shot caller for the side of EN? Do you say, right, okay, let's just hold back a little bit, boys. Let's just be a little bit chill. In the meantime, though, Chelsea gets taken down here in the bot lane.
Well, I think that answers the question a little bit, though. I mean, it's really difficult because right now XTC are so far ahead. You want to sort of catch up. They're doing actually something very interesting. They just walk straight into the Roche pit, and if the side of XTC do not identify this, could be a major issue. And they got Serpent Wards assisting with this one. They're going to try and shut this down as quick as possible. XTC, I don't think they're aware like I said, they want to play it sort of safe at night time. And eNergy, again, realizing the clock is showing that it is night. So it's going. They feel pretty confident that they can get this one for themselves.
Deppy's in the vicinity. He may actually decide to jump. And Odu's there. He does get into the pit. He sees what's happening. And does he decide to actually go in? He goes in. Is there going to be a snatch? Deppy got it!
He killed Roche
Deppy
too!
Got it!
Oh man.
That is a big, big burn for eNergy. The Illuminate comes out. They wreck Habibi. And the side of XTC gets inside. And eNergy found left wanting as the team was on the other side. Let's take a look at that kill again. eNergy needed this.
So he saw this. He's just calculating in his head how much damage are they doing, how much damage are they doing. Thought it would be done. He actually secures the kill. Not only does he get the Aegis, he kills Roshan, giving his team that extra bit of gold. So now they're just so far ahead. eNergy can't really look to make any sort of movements at night. They needed that Aegis. And very big loss for them right now.
Bot lane Chelsea gets spotted out here. He does BKB and TP himself out of there. And even having to use the BKB just to keep himself alive, eNergy feeling the pain and suffering for it.
Yeah, this is Chelsea's life now. He's going to have to, every time when he's split pushing, BKB TP out, because Storm can just jump from such a long distance, and Deppy could very, very well just find him in the trees. You can try and hide as well as you can, but there's a good chance Deppy might find you out. Must keep in mind that the Remnant does give flying vision, so he can see past a couple of trees, so it's a very scary situation. And yeah, XTC actually going to find an objective at night time, and this is just because they can. They've got Aegis now on the best possible Aegis carrier. Mid lane though, big jump.
Jump coming in, and they're going to try and take down Odu. Does Glimmer Cape up, the silence is there, but we still lose Odu on the Shadow Shaman. And now the rest of the team of XTC comes up. Deppy's still jumping forward, doesn't have a lot of HP, trying to slow down Chelsea. He comes in, BKB's on cooldown. Scarnet comes in, gonna try and blow up Chelsea, he goes down. Double kill coming out for Deppy. And that gem on the Kotl is just too good. And you can't get away.
Yeah, oh boy. This is pretty much the Deppy show right now. This is a situation he'll be very happy with. At his time, he's just doing what he needs to do right now, and he's doing it pretty well. He's got the Rod of Atos now. That's going to be able to control up multiple, or at least an individual in these team fights, and eNergy just can't afford to be down 4v5 in any sort of team fight, so hard work for them. They've lost all their exterior towers now, only the high ground left, and XTC have Aegis. They might even look to do a little bit of chip damage, or even potentially try and grab at least a high ground tower.
The bow strike comes in, the jump from Deppy comes in, blinding lights is out, Reaper comes out, not going to work. The fingers from Strike drops the rappel. And now the Reaper is down, and the split comes out from Habibi. He's going to try and follow. There's the Whirlwind. Deppy trying to work on the remnants from the Brewmaster. They're going to try and chase down Deppy. And Doom Bunny taking quite a bit of damage. Going to try and follow him out. Dota and Die leading the way out. The Deppy jumps in, trying to find Mr. Strike. He's going to find him in the backline. He's going to get the purification off. There's the Guardian. There's the rappel. Habibi going to try and smash away at Anastam, the Ghost Shout, going to keep him alive for the moment. Deppy does drop the remnants. There's the Rod of Atos. The epicenter from Scarnet sets it up, brings him down and knocks him out. As Deppy eventually goes down, still does have the Aegis. Strike tipping himself out of there. Doom Bunny very low HP, as no one got lost. Well, no one from the side of XT lost their lives. 3 down for the side of eNergy, and eNergy are looking very, very weak at the moment. They're now pushing higher ground, the side of XTC, only to alive. What can Chelsea and Strike do to stop this? Deppy jumping in under the tier 4. Scarnet can't get the bonus strike off. The Rod of Aces is there. Chelsea sprouts himself. They lose Strike. The buyback from Odu comes out. XTC doing it for the boys. The tier 3 is down. Trying to push into racks. Dota and Die heals up the rest of his team. And this could be very well your first lane of racks for the side of XTC. They're knocking them down, and eNergy
has fallen.
Yeah, so one of the things that we can say, that team fight that XTC took where they did so well happened, and then instantly it turns to daytime. That means they were all really low, and then they just walk onto the high ground, and Keeper of the Light heals everyone to full HP, and they can just reset. And the side of eNergy, they just falling over themselves. There's just no way for them to really find a way back. Good stun coming at you from Skynet, catches 2. Chelsea's going to be forced to use the BKB out on himself. But look at the Storm. He's just so huge. He's just jumping around in the backlines. No concern. The Keeper of the Light keeping that sustain going. It's daytime. These fights are impossible for eNergy. A Ravage coming out from Skynet. Catches 3 with his Burrow Strike. And they just fall right back into their base. It's an absolute disaster right now. 4 down. Potentially another lane of racks. I don't know how XTC are going to come back from this one. But they do find 2 kills here onto C1, who was forced to buy back. But GG does get called.
The tap has come, and eNergy are going to be going down game 1. XTC securing themselves ever closer to going up against WRG. We're going to be back shortly for game number 2. Do not go anywhere. We are at EGE. Come and see us. And it has been a cracker of a game. XTC sitting a little bit in the behind, and eNergy kind of letting that game falling a little bit through their fingers. Do you think it was the Midas that hurt them?
I don't think it was the Midas. I just think it was a Keeper of the Light that was 5,000 net worth at about 13 minutes or something like that. He was just huge. He got an Agnum Scepter in no time at all. They got Gem, and at that stage, eNergy just was so far behind. They're trying to claw their way back into the game. It seemed impossible at that stage.
As soon as Depi got ridiculous big, it was massive. But from myself, Jabba and Scorpio, we're going to see you shortly in game 2. In the meantime, we're going to send it back to the guys on the panel.
Thanks, Jabba. And yep, that's the way that cookie crumbled the first time round.
I'm not happy about this.
Why not?
Because I want eNergy to win.
I'm
but
sorry.
it's still best
It's
of
a best of
3.
3.
Yeah.
So
He's just not happy because I was right.
I mean, that too. Yeah. But actually, I think this is a good example of why Keeper gets banned. Like, imagine...
Maybe in conjunction with the Storm Spirit, though.
Like, Storm would not have been able to have as much work as he did. Like, one of the things, like, Keeper did a lot that game, right? So one of the things he did was that getting that early axe gave them that heal potential. I think there was just one fight next to the Radiant Shrine around the tier 1 area. So they took that fight, right? And honestly, eNergy was winning it, but they couldn't get the last kill onto either the Sand King or the Sand King Silencer and Storm Spirit all survived because of one last-minute heal from the Keeper Axe. And he kept giving the Chakra Magic over to Storm Spirit, so Storm would jump in, right, and then drop down double Remnant. And it's like, oh, okay, wow, this is an entire area of space now you can't go into because of what Storm Spirit is doing. All enabled by the Keeper of the Light. Like, all their pushes were basically impossible because you would try push into a tier 1 tower. Like, Prophet would TP somewhere, try push, one Illuminate Blast, push over. What can you do?
Yeah.
So it was...
Well, let's talk about that Storm Spirit. We saw him absolutely running over things. Obviously, he was heavily assisted by our dear friend, the Keeper of the Light. And you have no idea how happy that makes me. But he did quite a lot of key plays here as well, being aware enough to snatch an Aegis, in fact.
Yeah, I mean, well, snatching an Aegis, and of course, I mean, they threw out everything to try and get him down and stop that Aegis. But once he got up again, I mean, he just completely destroyed, because at that time, the whole of eNergy basically, in that fight, they threw out everything to try push XTC back, and then forgetting, oh wait, Storm has Aegis. And then they're like, okay, well, let's kill the Storm. And as soon as Storm was up, all of them were low enough for him to just basically do whatever he wanted to the team. Spells were on cooldown, Brew Marsalty was down. Pretty much from that point onwards, it was XTC's game, completely. I mean, eNergy were doing a really good job at defending, I feel. They were pushing them back, they were trying their utmost best, but at that point, that one fight is just game-ending, it's breaking.
Yep. That's the one.
Do you guys feel that the GG was maybe prematurely called?
No.
Or do you think that was
honestly, when they tried to defend that tier 2 tower at mid, and then so Rasta went out, right? Storm Spirit jumped him, he died instantly. The Nature's Prophet came in to perhaps try and save him. He silences the Storm. Storm gets used up into the air, comes down, just goes on and kills him anyway. I think at that point, honestly, could have GG'd out because there was basically nothing they could do. The only upcoming item that was arriving was the Blink Dagger from Omni-Knight, and there was just not enough happening from the eNergy side to be able to contest what XTC was doing. So from that point, it was basically game over already.
Yeah, and I mean, the fact that they just still fought one more fight before they called the GG just shows they did try, and I think they realized after that fight, they were like, guys, we can't do anything else.
Yeah.
There's nothing we can do. We can try, push this out later, but inevitably, I mean, they're way ahead of us. There's nothing really we can do. And they don't really have the heroes to, I don't know, let's say, outweight XTC. So they don't have the heroes for it.
Yep. Well, Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. But first, we have Gareth sitting in the audience with one of our lucky members. Let's go over to him.
Thanks a lot, birthday boy. I'm here with Brian, who is one of the guys just sitting out, kicking back on a Sunday morning, enjoying the Dota. You enjoying it so far?
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Are you a Dota player yourself?
I used to be. I'm going to get back into it now that I've been watching all of this. It's actually inspired me to download the game and start playing it.
We were chatting with some of the guys yesterday. How cool are these events for almost like either bringing back old players who've kind of lost favor with the game or new players?
Yeah, and even on like Friday, they started with like Dota 1-on-1, telling us a little bit more about the changes. Because when I first started playing it, all this other stuff wasn't there. The shrines in between, I have to learn all of that. So.
What did you think of that amazing play in the Rosh pit, where Defi just not only took Rosh, but also stole the Aegis and was cheers?
Yeah, it was like, oh, thanks. Oh, you're beating him so long for me. That's the health. Okay, let me just wait. Tick, tick, tick. I'll jump in, get gold for the rest of my team, and take this. Oh, and bye. I'm not going to stick around.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for softening him up for me. Yeah. Thanks, Brian. I hope you enjoy the rest of the game. Are you rooting for any one particular team?
I like supporting the underdog. I like supporting the people that win, but I think I'm going to go with eNergy. I really think I'm going to support them to the end of the day.
You reckon they've got what it takes to take WRG as well?
Yeah, I've been watching them in the losers brackets, and they seem to have this nice calm. Like when I need to do it, that's when I pull it out and get it done. So I'm going to be rooting for them.
Awesome. Another eNergy fan here in the stands. Back to the panel.
Thanks, Gareth, and thank you, my dear eNergy fan. It's always nice to see the crowd getting involved, the crowd having a favorite of their own.
Yeah.
So, we were discussing a little bit about the Storm Spirit, but let's take a look at the side, on the other side of the river, boys from eNergy.
I really did feel like eNergy had the better draft, but just looking at the way they've been playing this tournament, I still went with XTC because they've just been more consistent and more convincing in their winnings, whereas eNergy have been struggling to win. They have won, but they haven't done it easily.
Yeah.
So that's what made me tilt towards XTC for this match, even though eNergy on paper looked like they had the better draft. But as you said as well, if XTC Storm Spirit goes ham,
he went really ham.
He really, and it was all thanks to the coddle as well. Like, it really helped out. Having that extra mana, having, you know, a double remnant, all that, it really does contribute.
Well, let's bring a spotlight onto that Shadow Fiend. And this kind of goes to where I want this conversation to eventually end up. We saw a BKB purchased on Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, did nothing. Like, the first usage of it, he used it, like, firstly to try to get out of the global silence, and they turned into going into a team fight. But there just wasn't the damage. Like, there was that one fight, that same fight that turned the game for them, where the coddle revealed his axe. He went in, used the Requiem of Souls while Sand King was next to him. Like, a ton of damage. And he actually left the Sand King. He was like, there's no way this guy isn't dead. He threw out one more right click, walked away, tried to attack Depi. But then while he was doing that, the heal came in, everybody gets back up. And then in later fights, we also saw, like, he used BKB, used his full salvo as well, but then no one would die. And then it's like, oh, okay, fine, now what are you supposed to do? Yeah. Also, like, I think it was really a struggle for him to try. He was doing really well in the lanes versus Depi. But then it was a struggle for him to deal with Adastan because it's much harder to kill a hero who has that many heals as well as a coddle right behind him. And it's not like he could rely on anybody else on his team. The Nature Prophet went for that first pick, Orchid Malevolence, which is great. But if you're not getting kills, if there's heals to keep these heroes alive, then the Orchid doesn't really do too much. Yeah, like maybe you should have gone for a damage item, like maybe the Maelstrom build or the Blade Mail build would have been better.
Blade Mail possibly, yes, but it's also due to the fact with all that heal, it's just like you target on one person. You're like, okay, my goal is to kill that guy and then go on this guy, which is normally the consensus when you gank, right? But when you have everything to negate your gank, to negate that gank, then you're kind of left to be like, okay, well, who's low enough for me to hit now? Because I can't just waste my time here. And it's effectively what they did. They wasted his time. He couldn't do anything like efficiently. Yes, ulti did a lot of damage, but they've got everything in the world to just go, okay, well, ulti all you want. Yeah. And it was really hard for him to do something.
That leads us to what could have eNergy bought that could have stayed the fray of this terrifying team of XTC.
They could have maybe had Radiance on Omni-Knight. Like, we were talking, I was talking to one of the players about it. I'm talking to Rocklee from XD about it, and the Radiance, the thing that would have changed for their team, right, would have actually allowed them to have a little bit extra damage because they really started, it became evident how many damage problems they had. They had like sufficient levels of control, but just you can't kill anyone. Like, nobody dies. And, like, most of the fights, you can maybe at best lose one XTC hero, and then Energy is losing 3-4 every time, and you're just like, oh,
and
wow.
it stacks well with the DJ aura as well, which you have to consider. So, I mean, definitely that's one of the items they definitely could have gone for. I agree with you. And I agree with you, Rock Lee, wherever you are. Somewhere.
He's in here somewhere.
He's in here somewhere, yeah.
Well, isn't that a sizable investment? I mean, I know this was an Omni Knight that was a farming Omni Knight.
Yes,
usually we don't see him in that sort of role.
Yeah, but he had a lot of money to play around with. He wasn't doing badly in terms of accumulating money. You know, it's just
So what did
he
he
could
end
have
up
gone
with?
for it.
He bought the early Greaves, I think. Yeah, he bought Greaves first. I think he had Greaves at like 22, 23.
It's essential on the Omni Knight so that
But
the
it's-
Storm Spirit doesn't zip in and silence him.
But he could have had Radiance at
Yeah,
that point.
he
right?
could have, because it's literally the same amount of gold, practically. It's also like a 5k item, so he could have gone for that rather. I mean,
Yeah, I guess. All right, if he goes for one, you can't have both. You don't have enough money. You don't have enough time.
You can get
with the
to both.
steamroll that XTC brings.
you can possibly get an early mech or mana boots if you really want to, but then or just at the early mech and finish off your radiance. But generally, you want to rush that radiance.
I think it's
So
better to like
he
get
also went
Radiance
for
first.
Midas first as well, I believe.
He went Midas first. He went Arcane Boots, Midas. And I think it's better to get Radiance first because then you can actually hard farm into the Guardian Greaves. Doesn't take as long to get to. Whereas the opposite is not true. If you get the Guardian Greaves, it takes a lot longer to get to the Radiance thereafter. Especially considering that you also bought the Hand of Midas, so he could have like doubled down on his early farm speed.
So Hand of Midas, Radiance, his farm would have basically exploded. So it would have been able to get another core item up very quickly. Whereas if you're going for the, like you say, the GG boots first, it's harder for you to accumulate that amount of farm that quickly. But yeah, I think it could have made a difference, but it would have won them the game. I don't think so.
I'm not sure, because like all the fights that they were taking, right, at that specific stage of the game, they were fighting for like a really long time. So when you're in these super long team fight situations, right, the effectiveness of Guardian Greaves and Max starts to fall off a little bit because sure, you get that bonus regen, which is great, but the actual burst heal is what you're really after. And if you only get to use it at the beginning of the fight, and then if you don't win the fight immediately afterwards, you'll start to ask yourself, okay, if we had more damage like over a spread period of time, would it not have been better? Like to be able to just tick them down. Like there was a couple of team fights where having that little bit of extra damage could have actually gotten a kill, and that could translate into more gold to get the mech and the Radiance and the Guardian Greaves faster.
Yeah, and it's also due to the fact, I mean, like, yeah, you've got the option of like being more sustainable in fights because you've got the early Guardian Greaves, but lacking damage, that extra time that you have in the fight doesn't really mean much because you can't get enough damage in that time frame. So I completely agree with you there. It would have made a difference.
Anything else they could have done?
Like
maybe just draft it differently.
In retrospect, the Nature's Prophet wasn't a good idea because as soon as you saw Coral, you probably don't want to pick Necro. You don't want to pick Nature's Prophet at all because Nature's Prophet actually can do absolutely nothing versus that hero. So we'll see if Energy actually consider banning out the Coral. That being said, last game it was actually funny because XTC won with 3 heroes on their team that have 100% win rates, extending that trend, whereas Energy lost with 2 heroes that have 100% win rate. So it's like, well, you know, I think, no, I both had 3 heroes that had 100% win rate, but it changed everything.
We're all going to lose someday, right?
Yeah. Like, I mean, we first initially thought it might be a mid-profit, and then I was like, wait, but they need damage. They need a lot more damage. So, like, maybe put a SF. We were reading on the SF mid and maybe the Prophet offlane. We initially thought this has to be a core Omni, but maybe an offlane core Omni, and they swapped it up. They put Chelsea onto the Prophet, and they put the SF mid, which is something they needed to do.
So, I mean, we're sitting one game down, Energy, a few thoughts running through their heads. They're not, let's say, new to the scene of we're about to get knocked out.
Well, I mean, they're banning pretty much the same way at the moment, so there is certain heroes they don't want to play against. I mean, XTC is still banning out that Nyx Assassin, a Chelsea Nyx Assassin.
Now they have to think about it, XTC though, because Energy has first pick, so they know that if they leave Coddle, it'll probably go to Energy. I doubt Energy having first pick again will go for the Rasta once more. I think you pick Coddle.
The Shadow Shaman was kind of underwhelming that game as well. Didn't really do that much.
But I think Coddle's also one of the better counters versus the Rasta, because like if the enemy can never actually get close enough to the tower to drop the serpent wards, then you don't do anything. So this is definitely, XTC had to have known this is coming, right?
Yeah,
so
they had to.
They must have a plan.
So probably they still want Sand King. I think Sand King was one of their better heroes from
they
game
can't
one.
they can't do the Earthshaker anymore either. I mean, this should be man out.
Maybe like Sand King Rasta or like Sand King Clockwork seems like a pretty good thing for them to go into.
No, Dota and Dai has been playing the position for Clockwork, but okay, well now they get the Tusk, which is another option.
Yeah.
We've seen Tusk come out, I believe, 3 or 4 times. Check the stats.
Tusk, this is his 3rd game, I believe.
3rd game, yeah.
Let me just make 100% sure. WRG won with him the other day, yesterday.
That's because
this is his 3rd game, yeah.
3rd game, yeah.
He's 1-1 thus far.
1-1.
Yeah.
And here's the Shadow Shaman, but now on the other side of the coin. So, yeah, Shadow Shaman, like we know how we feel about Shadow Shaman. He's one of the good top tier supports at the moment. Tusk and an amazing ganker. So these two roaming together is pretty deadly. Pretty deadly.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got an amazing you can disable, and Tusk does quite a fair amount of damage. But one thing is nice about him is that he can also disengage. He can save his entire team from dying with the snowball. So.
Also, you can cheese with Tusk.
Yeah, you can.
Rasta, what you do is that, like,
you can,
as you're pushing onto a tier 1 tower, you drop the Rasta wards, and then you throw out ice shards behind the Rasta wards, so then the incoming creep wave can't actually get to the tower to defend it.
It's very dirty.
You take the tower easily. It's super cheesy.
It is super cheesy. But it works.
So I guess cheese did come to the fore.
Right, so energy
and here's the clockwork, yeah.
So Coddle Clockwork, I think that's also one of the... They see this Tusk, and they're like, okay, then we know what the support duo is, and it's unlikely that they're going to pick Clockwork in the off lane. But just in case, they're going to pick it now, and then just focus their next round of bans on these core heroes coming out of XTC. Yeah. I think, I actually think that this Coddle not being in the hands of XTC immediately makes this a new game. Like that game probably would have been would guarantee would be extremely different without this hero.
Yeah, it definitely gave the Storm Spirit a huge advantage as well. I think he would have gone ham anyway, but not quite to that extent that fast.
I'm pretty sure the game would still be on right now.
Yeah, definitely. It would have still been on for at least another 20 minutes or so, I think, if the Coddle wasn't a factor.
Queen of Pain banned out, followed by the Shadow Fiend on the other side, as well as that Venomancer. They're leaving a puck in here, though.
They are leaving a puck.
Which we saw decimate quite a lot of hopes and dreams yesterday.
Yes, it did.
I think Ian know that XTC have first pick in the next round, so you have to decide now if you're going to roll the dice and allow maybe Puck to get through. Especially looking at these bans on the side of XTC, they're trying to remove heroes that Puck can, they can deal with the Puck in the mid lane. So Cop's already out, SF's already out. XTC, they can just pick it now. But then eNergy, they don't have any instant counters for it. Although Clockwork can actually pseudo deal with this hero, and it's kind of nice to be able to play the Keeper of the Light with the Mana League versus that hero, but it's not that great either. Both these heroes can also just die instantly to Puck. I don't see a reason why XTC just don't go for third pick Puck. WRG did it yesterday, and it seemed to work for them. It worked for them against XTC, so maybe that's still fresh in their minds.
Well, they are taking their time thinking about it. I don't think maybe they want to reveal their mid hero just yet.
Yeah, but if they don't pick it up, they risk having eNergy pick it up.
Yeah, but there are other options for them. It's not just, if we don't get Puck, that's the end of the world. It's just, I think they are thinking about what possibly eNergy could be drafting at the moment, because Puck doesn't work in every situation. So you have to think about that as well, and they've still got a ban and 3 picks to go as well. So it's not something that you want to just maybe do it out of the gate.
Also, they have that safety net. They've already won the first game, so
yeah, they have that safety net. So
they can probably afford to not pick up the Puck and say, let's see what else you can bring. Or maybe it's one of those situations where eNergy is trying to bait them into picking Puck, so they're going to counter bait and not pick Puck.
Yeah,
and then it's back in eNergy's court, damn, it's either we pick Puck or we let them have a Puck +1 combo. That's pretty good. I think actually now you can actually pick your offlaner. If you go something like Faceless Void, I don't think not Void. You need Bat Rider, something like that. Bat Rider Tusker is super strong together.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Why the SF ban?
We can also, excuse me?
Why the SF ban?
Chosen One's too good. I'm not here.
Chosen One's too good. Well, they could possibly, here they go. They're picking their offlaner, so they're going to leave the Puck in there.
Yeah, they're going to leave the Puck. They go for the Sand King, which did a ton of work in the previous game. This hero was really good whenever I see XTC play it. It's also been winning a lot this tournament.
Ooh.
That was its fifth win. Visage, yes!
Seen this coming. I saw Odu playing against the Visage this morning. And he was just swearing to himself that he shouldn't have. Why am I laning against this thing?
I kind of hope this is core Visage.
Yeah, I have high hopes. I have high hopes for that as well.
I don't think it'll be though.
No.
But it would be great if that was the situation. Oh, that would be fantastic.
Gyro's still in the pool, so the birds are still definitely vulnerable.
I'm pretty sure that eNergy won't mind if XTC go for Gyro, which they do actually. Immediately the Gyro counters going to come out.
Gyro is so good against the birds. It absolutely destroys them. But the only thing that does do is the closer you get to Visage, the less damage it does, which is kind of broken. And if you think about it, because but the flak cannon does have a good enough range to completely destroy those birds. So it is nice against the Visage, but again, Gyrocopter not having the best win rate in this tournament.
Nope,
and
0%.
0%.
It's lost every game it's been in. So I'm pretty sure they're okay with Gyrocopter being in the game.
Yeah, it hasn't got the best win rate because, it's just not as effective as a carry as something else. But, we have seen Adastum do some wondrous things on a Gyro before.
My thing is that like, I think 2 of the games that we've seen Gyrocopter in have had clockwork as well.
Yeah.
And the hero just doesn't do well against clockwork.
It
Whenever
really
there's
doesn't.
zoning cogs like that, you just can't get past it. Like, and you have a very short attack animation. So right now, definitely XTC's team fight is phenomenal. Having Tusk, Sand King, and Gyrocopter, they can move a lot of heroes into position with the Tusker, then follow up with great epicenter combos. And then Gyrocopter obviously jumps on top of that. But right now, Ember Spirit has a lot of Ember Spirit Flame God absorbs a lot of their magic damage. Visage with Gravekeeper's Cloak as well can keep himself relatively safe, and Keeper of the Light will have the Ags heal.
And the Sand King's going to have a difficult time against Ember Spirit as well, because you know his root does reveal invis, so like he gets his root off on time. The Sand King can't really do much, can't move anywhere. He can still Burrow Strike out of trouble. It's not like it's going to prevent him from doing that, but Sand Kings tend to have a hard time against an Ember Spirit. So it's going to be interesting to see. And I mean, the damage, the nuke of the Ember Spirit coupled up with the Visage, that's a dead hero any day of the week with those two. So it's going to be hard for them. And I'm really worried about this Gyro pick. It's good against Visage, fine, but do you really want to risk it? Picking a hero that's so vulnerable, especially against the Clockwork as well.
XTC with this, I think they suspect that the puck is going to come out. They got... No, they don't want to deal with Draw Visage, which is one of the premier combos that we've seen in the past. And XTC have been playing. I mean, Necro still does have a 100% win rate this tournament, and it's one of those heroes you put it mid, it can still deal with them. It can deal very well with the Ember Spirit quite effectively. So rather not take that chance.
And they're really scared of a Necro again, so they're going to be banning that out as well. eNergy have a lot to think about here.
Taking out the Drow, I feel, is a bit of a wise decision.
Yeah, Draw Visage.
Oh, Draw Visage, I mean, it's just way too strong. You can't let that happen. You literally just can't.
I'm kind of surprised they banned Necro though, because if I look at XTC...
They might have been able to use it.
No, they could pick it, right? But you put them in a situation where they have a ton of magical damage. And we saw yesterday, like Chelsea said that one of their main problems in the game yesterday was they drafted way too magic focused. So they could have actually allowed Necro to go through and then pick something which is very good against magic. Already they have 2 heroes which don't necessarily struggle that much up against magic damage. But I guess they're worried about the laning phase. Like it doesn't help if you are able to fight in the mid game against magic if in the laning you just get bowled over, of course. So eNergy now need a safe lane hero, right?
Sorry?
They need a safe lane hero.
Yeah, they do. They
can actually pick anything right now. They could pick Weaver, Jug is not in the game anymore.
Anti-Mage is still in the pool as well.
I don't think you want to pick Anti-Mage. They've got
not yet, I'm just saying it is still in the pool.
They could actually, they could go for it now that I'm looking at this drop, because
they could.
You can use Cuddle to D-push and just buy, and you can use this draw to just buy time effectively for as long as possible for Chosen One to get that farm on.
Think about it, you can split push and then you can ask Cuddle to recall you, and you don't even have to TP back. You know, it is a nice option. Axe!
On that clock, it's gonna be an Axe. Oh, we're in for a treat. A nice Chelsea Axe for
it's a support Clockwork. We get what we wanted.
They could still run Clockwork off lane.
I don't think so. Not with an Axe.
Support Visage, mid Ember. Like, Axe mid is actually not terrible, this meta right now.
It's not terrible, but...
Even Clockwork mid, I've seen it ran a couple of times. Or what you do is that you max out the Rocket Flare, then you just use that to freeform the mid lane.
I just feel like Axe is, like, in an off-lane situation, it's just amazing. And I feel like he does need those levels, and he can do the bully lane potential thing as well.
He gets owned by Gyro, though. Like, every time you run into lane with Axe, you just get... Gyro just maxes the Rocket Barrage, presses Q, and you die instantly. It feels bad. It's awful.
We could.
Final pick is going to be none other than the Invoker yet again.
This is great. Oh
Love
my
that
god.
Invoker.
This XTC draft this team fight is pretty scary. But that being said, though, this Axe, who is going into offlanes, it's going to suck for him, but it's going to be core Visage. I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
Well, you know what that means? That means we are about to rock and roll. So let's put some bums on the line, boys.
100% Visage win rate.
You're going to stick with the Visage side. Old eNergy fan, eh?
Honestly, eNergy fan. I like Habibi.
Okay.
Habibi's great, man. I'm just going to stick to my guns here and go XTC.
Again. So you're looking at an XTC 2-0.
Possibly, yeah.
Despite there being an Axe, I know you're a favorite.
Look, it's not just that. Okay, I know the Gyro is in the pool, but looking at Invoker, he's just got so much control in team fights. And when it comes to late game with split pushing, he's just got Invoker just controls too much.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, there you have it. Your panel is done, and Jubba's ready to rock and roll with the game. Over to you, my friend. Enjoy.
Welcome back to EGE game number 2 of XTC versus eNergy. eNergy holding on for dear life. It could make a a very short and bitter ending for eNergy if they go out, considering their long run they had yesterday. I'm Jabba, joined by Scarpy, and first game was a roughie.
Yeah, I think XTC really outdid themselves in game one, but this is Strike Visage. He's just such a beast on this hero. And like Snare said, 100% win rate, got to keep it up. Me and Snare were talking about it before the tournament started. Like, we want to see a lot more Visage, and here we go. We get an opportunity to see him once again in the tournament, I think the second time, but Strike's Visage is something else, man. Strike's Visage is so scary.
The panel did mention that, Wilson mentioned that he saw Odu going up against the Visage this morning in the game. It was actually Strike's Visage.
Yeah.
They actually found each other in a pub, and they were actually fighting one another, and it was Strike's Visage, and
it was
he
ugly.
is brutal. It was brutal. I mean, I think he went for a 7-1. You were telling me what was the...
It was 7-2. Strike was 7-2, and Odu was 1-7. So, I mean, like, Odu's no laugh in the mid lane, but Strike's Visage is just so insane. But now I'm curious if C1's going to be going to the safe lane with December, and they throw Strike into the mid. Sort of like what they do with Virtus Pro, where they're a bit lull in the mid lane when they do opt to go for a core Visage. And I think this is sort of their pocket stretch here, so it might be something like that coming from them.
I really like that idea, considering that Invoker counters Ember really hard. The spell shield gets dispelled with Tornado, EMP becomes a little bit of a problem. So I would really like the fact if Visage was actually going to be their mid hero. But the game is underway. We are here at the EGE in the CTICC. If you're in Cape Town or in the area, come on down and pop by. We are having an absolute ball here. And it is going to be one of those games that may be seeing one of these teams go home. It is going to be up to XTC to send home eNergy if they want to make it to the finals against WRG. The game has started, and things are going to get underway.
Yeah. So Axe first appearance, I suppose, is something that we also didn't really hype up at all. But he goes for an early Iron Talon, which is nice. It's an interesting stat. I mean, surprised that we see so little Axe in this tournament. Also, 0% win rate on Gyrocopter. Interesting stuff.
What would be the reason for the low pick rate of Axe? I mean, he is such a pub star, that Axe, and teams not choosing to actually opt for it. They have actually gone for a bit of a play here at the side of XTC. There's a 3-man rotation. They're going to drop the ward. There comes the ball. Chosen one. Going to get pulled out. Going to get stunned. There's the shackles. This could very well be your first blood. Dota and die will be the call. And Adestam going down. Adestam getting the first blood. Dota and die making easy work there of Chosen one. Just being caught a little bit unawares.
Yeah, that's maybe a bit of an error. Something that you should be a bit weary of. Tusk can sort of roll from the low ground. They should have had a support standing on the edge so he can break that smoke early. But yeah, a little bit of a mistake coming out from eNergy early on, but it's not the end of the world. Doom Bunny's actually wrapping around. You're going to see if he can catch something, but it is a mid C1. It is a mid Ember, so that's interesting. 1v1 Visage on the offlane though.
Okay, so I would have probably expected maybe Visage to come mid and C1 to actually have the solo lane. They opted to go this way around. We do still have good old Mr. Doom Bunny sitting here. Maybe trying getting a courier snipe if it does come out. I do like the play from XTC. They do have the courier sitting behind this tier 2, waiting to make sure that all players are visible on the map. Top lane though, Scarnet going to get battery assaulted out. Strike right-clicking him down. This could be a kill for Ian to get up, and they can't get the last right-click. The tier 1 tower doing work, and Scarnet does not go down. That is going to be unfortunate for the side of Ian.
Yeah, Skynet he'll be happy that he just survived there, I think. Not the end of the world. We see the Axes sort of just sacked lane entirely. He's going to give Odu the opportunity to try and get whatever experience he can. So they've gone for an extremely greedy draft here. Habibi sort of pos 5 clockwork, which is something we don't see a lot of. He's going to have a very difficult time to sort of itemize into this game. But it's fine. Once he gets level 6, that's pretty much all he needs. If he can get a 4-star, that would be great. But other than that, the Keeper of the Light, sort of the offlaner here, he's going to just try to collect whatever farm and XP he can with his Illuminate and trying to hide in the trees constantly.
I'm really interested to see how this mid lane goes. We've got Chosen One on the Ember Spirit, Depi on the Invoker now. considering how he played the Storm in the previous game, I'm sure this Invoker is going to devastate the side of eNergy. As well as Invoker's a really good controlling hero.
Yeah, so this lane is not really nice for C1 at all, because once Deppy does get a point into Quas, he can just, every time C1 tries to run at you with the Flame Guard, you can just tornado it off. Yes, it's going to consume a lot of mana, but it also means that C1's not going to be able to do what you often want to do with an Ember Spirit. Get the Flame Guard up, run at the individual, and bring the HP low while you get lost in lane. And Habibi doing a bit of a sneaky play here onto Deppy.
Well, also looking in the top lane, the boys from XTC may try and do something. Habibi has got invis, may try something. The Sunstrike does come out, but C1 once more. There's the Battery Assault. They're going to actually get the route down onto Deppy. This could be a kill in the mid lane, bot lane. They are trying to look for Odu at a stam, running up the trees here. He manages to chakra himself. Dota and Doom Bunny, they're trying to surround Odu. There comes the ball. We may lose Odu. The shackles come out, trying to hide behind the trees. He's going to go down. Super close for Mr. Odu to get out of there. He doesn't, as the side of XTC get the return kill. Losing Deppy in the mid, though.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of a punishment. I believe we do have a replay of
Let's take a look at that again.
So, I mean, Habibi just doing what he does. Actually, C1 baited this out pretty well, forced the Invoker to sort of walk forward and set up that kill for themselves pretty well. At the same time, in the bot lane, with a little bit of a speed up there, we see them going on to Odu. He had to dive very deep, but this is also XTC forced to lose a lot of CS potentially here. At a stamina, them needed to get out just in case any sort of rotations came through. So I suppose the death of Odu for a mid lane Invoker, it's definitely worth the while for XTC, considering that they're doing such greedy lanes with a jungling axe.
Top lane Strike, pretty low HP. They're having a good little fight here in the top lane. Scarnet against Strike on the Visage. Now, again, we've seen very peculiar cores coming out for the side of eNergy. The previous game we saw the Omni Knight. This time around we see the Visage. Do you think these are heroes that are specifically there to confuse the side of XTC, or are they confident and secure cores?
I think they just put their hands very deep in their pockets and pulled the strategy out. And it is Strike's best hero. He was originally a support player, and if you pick up Visage, you just know you're in big trouble playing up against Strike. So I think they always had this pocket strat ever since Strike has become a core, but he's in trouble here in the top lane. Takes a lot of damage.
Oh, here comes the balls. There's the shackle. Sunstrike's gonna catch. And Mr. Dota and Task kills C1 in the mid. Habibi not being close enough to actually get him. The outshards are there, and he is so trapped. The shackles are good. Doom Bunny holding him in place. You going no, my friend. Can he get the deny off? And no, he can't. Good old Mr. Roshan sleeping and not doing his job.
Yeah, really good for them there. Chelsea, he's still trying to get his tranquils up. He's doing fine in the jungle, but it's really punishing the lanes when you do sort of a full-time jungling hero and then an off-lane sort of cuddle.
Shards going to hold him in place. There's the Sandstorm coupled up with the Burrow Strike. The Sunstrike's not going to catch, but Doom Bunny comes in with that Ether Strike, but Scarnet with the Sandstorm. Chelsea is down. Mid lane, though, a little bit of rotation coming in from the back. Chosen One, the cogs are there. Deppy does Ghost Walk out, and he's going to be able to survive through that rotation. Fruitless.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a bit of an error from Habibi. He should be aware that there's going to be some form of points in Quas and Wex on Deppy. Not going into them, trying an attempt of a gank in the mid lane with that dust is sort of fruitless every time, unless the Invoker's low on mana, which he surely would have checked as well. So a bit of a mistake, I suppose. But yeah, XTC, they're just having a great time, a jolly old time. The only reason why eNergy are keeping up in Networth is because they got a jungling axe. And yes, he does get a lot out, but it's really punishing the lanes and giving a good advantageous lead to the cause on the opposing side.
Well, you spoke about it earlier. Putting Chelsea in the jungle makes it a very greedy lane. Can the side of eNergy bring it back by keeping Chelsea in the jungle? He obviously wants to get his tranquils, trying to get to his blink. When he gets his blink, can he turn the game? Can he make the difference?
Yeah, so that's pretty much the spike that they're waiting for. I think Axe Blinkers makes always a very big impact. Oh, mid lane, a lot of trouble here. Three remnants.
Doom Bunny goes in, but then all of a sudden they're going to lose C1. and Doombunny still survives through very low HP. Chelsea TP's in, gets a beautiful call off onto 2. There's the sole assumption they wreck DP. Chelsea looking for more, gets himself a double kill, and that is going to put himself very ever closer to that Blink Dagger. And Doombunny just walking up the hill, double damage to boot, nets out good old Chosen One, and then Battery Assault coming out from Habibi. I mean, I think maybe Doombunny was expecting a little bit more from Deppy.
Yeah, I think it looked like the Ember Spirit or C1 underestimated. Oh, triple remnant bot.
Coming in, there's the searing change onto Hastags. Odu going to try and right click from afar. Chelsea can't close the gap. He does not have any battle hunger to speed them up, and he's going to be able to get away.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. That means C1 had to rotate all the way here, and it being fruitless is a little bit of an issue. It also means that the Invoker might even be pushing and putting some pressure onto this tier 1 tower, so these are all sorts of problems that they may be dealing with. And yeah, Deppy's getting ever closer to that Hand of Midas, and he's still topping out the net worth charts, even though he has died twice in the laning stage. He's still doing pretty well.
Mid lane, Odu decides to make a little bit of rotation, keeping this tier 1 tower alive in the bot lane, though they may have a little bit of an engagement here. Chosen One and Dota and Die on the high ground. There is no Shadow Shaman to actually couple up here with Dota and Die. It's been a ridiculous combination. Getting the Shadow Shaman close enough to actually get the shackles off, but they may actually spot one another, and Dota and Die just says, oh, no, not today, boys.
Yeah, he needs to be careful, though. If there is a shearing change that comes out onto him, he could have died, but no points inside of Fist, so there is no way for them to be able to do that one. So there's a tri-lane here, so they need to be a bit careful. I see a lot of rotations moving in this direction. Seems like they are aware, okay, there's people missing off the map. Let's think the better of this one. Chelsea, he's pretty close to the Blink Dagger. It seems like he is going to rush that one, not going for the Vanguard. Of course, he didn't lane, so I don't think that's all too necessary for him. But yeah, I think one of the more important things are secure the Blink Dagger onto him and get level 6 up on your Clockwork, and then you can look for sort of making some plays to catch up a little bit here.
Well, bot lane looks like they want to do a little bit of wraparounds. They're trying to close the gap. We do have Strike in the sidelines. Hastags under the tier 1 with his friend Doombunny. And Habibi also there. Can they make a play? We don't have Habibi on level 6 yet. Hookshot is not available.
Yeah, this is a difficult situation here. Strike, he's not really farmed by any means. He hasn't actually had such a great time. Oh, look at...
Habibi catches out Doombunny. Going to just battery assault him to death. Can't even get the shackles off. Flare and a 1v1 for Habibi, taking down Mr. Doombunny. Bot lane though, Hastags needs to retreat to his tier 1 as eNergy is looking for blood.
Yeah, Flak Cannon destroying his familiars. He had to resummon those. That's a little bit of an issue that you're always going to have to consider when you do try and dive onto Hastags as a Visage, that you could potentially be losing a familiar.
Top lane, there's the Sunstrike. Epi to boot, not even necessary. Scarnet cancels it, not needed. Sunstrike just too good. And Odu running in the trees, trying to keep himself alive. 4 in the vicinity for eNergy. They are looking to take down this top tier 1. Hastags does come up there, drops the call down. There's the Illuminate. They're gathering up under here. Odu has no option but to die. That is his option, to die.
This is really going poorly. XTC are definitely taking advantage of the greed of eNergy right now. So this is a major issue. And at the same time, Invoker's got his Hand of Midas, getting pretty close to that Ags. Once that's online, major concerns. I think this is the first time we've seen a Gyrocopter be this far ahead at the stage of the game. Another thing, Hastags is going for the Sanjin Yasha, which is a build I don't think we've seen too much of in this tournament. I don't know if Sargon has any stats on that.
Hook shot in the mid lane. They're trying to find Deppy. They do. The cog come down. Triple Remnant. Deppy has no choice but to die. There's the Paul trying to follow up onto Habibi. He's going to pay for his sins. C1 going to be able to get himself in a secure position. Triple Remnant not going to give him an escape, but Deppy does go down. Trading out a Habibi for a Deppy?
Worth every time. I mean, that's exactly what I was saying. They need level 6 on him or Blink Dagger on the Axe, and then they're going to look to make a pretty decent trade. And they did. They made a very successful trade. They'll be happy about that. They're sort of keeping the net worths at bay, considering, again, they went very greedy. This Keeper of the Lights actually got nothing. Very, very poor. Odu's having a bit of a tough time. Nothing like the game that Dota and Die had. But we'll see. Maybe he can turn this around once he's able to find a few more. But Strike.
He's been balled up onto one of the birds, just trying to keep himself alive. He needs to get the familiars out of there. Now, we spoke a little bit earlier about the draft from eNergy being a little bit greedy, and the Strike opting to go for the Hand of Midas. He's locked it up in his inventory. That's what he's looking for next. Do you think this this is going to work out for them? I mean, X, you've pretty much lost your lanes because the X was in the jungle.
Yeah. In the last game, I don't think the Hand of Midas was the worst idea. I don't think there was much else for him to go for. He had a bad lane. This time again, Strike didn't really get a tremendous amount of farm, so he's going for the Hand of Midas and hoping that his team's going to be able to hold out until maybe the later parts or later stages of the game. Because if he gets Ags up, he gets a lot more levels, his familiars get a lot stronger. It's definitely going to help. So I think Hand of Midas is fine. I don't think that it's going to be too punished. If they're going to be punished for anything, it's just due to the fact that Axe jungle sort of hurts their lanes.
Okay, mid lane though, there comes out the Grave. It's going to slow him down, and they're not going to try and follow out. They're going to try and fight under the tier 1 perhaps. Oh. Do they find the jump in? Chelsea gets the call off onto Skynet. The blink has been revealed. The cogs is there. The ball's coming out from Dota and Da. The snakes get dropped down in the back line. Oh. Strike trying to take down Doom Bunny. There's the Ice Shards and the Ether Shock coming out from Doom Bunny. And can they find the Sunstrike onto Chosen One? They don't. His TP comes in here from Shadow Shaman, Doom Bunny trying to see if they can close the gap. They can't. Adestam trying to look for more. There's the homing missile, the rocket barrage, the flak cannon. Adestam once more trying to wear down Habibi. The cogs are there, trapping good old Adestam there. But the cogs pushing away Adestam. Habibi might get away, trying to deny the kill to Depi and rather give it to Adestam. But Depi gets himself that kill.
Yeah, nice blinding light there from Odu, but there was just no way. Of course, Depi did wrap around on the other side just to make sure that there was no way for him to escape. And yeah, successful once again. And XTC are just going to try and up. Really good fight for them. And again, I can't bring it up enough. Their cores are just doing so well. I mean, Adestam had a complete free farm lane. The Invokers had no real problems. Yes, he died once or twice in lane, but at the end of the day, he's pretty happy with this outcome. And Adestam's going to start really beating hard into the side of eNergy very soon. So a very big concern, and a very big concern for the Visage, because his familiars are just going to constantly die to the flak cannon.
That is a problem that that was raised earlier on the panel. That flak cannon absolutely decimating the familiars. Obviously not an option to actually pick up the Ags for Strike. What kind of items can we expect? He's got himself the medallion already, trying to get his Midas. What do we look for from there?
I think he still goes for the Ags, but he's just going to have to use his familiars to sort of split push, maybe avoid wherever the gyrocopters get pickups on the supports or something like that. You just get a lot of value out of it because the farm that you're able to find with the familiars from across the map. So I think he'll go that way. Other than that, he still could go for the Solar Crest. It does also buff up his familiars because they're able to do that much more physical damage.
Top lane, we've got four. We've got two here for the side of eNergy. Skynet, can they actually spot him out? The familiars trying to find work. Strike's trying to stay in close proximity, and SK going to be able to get himself out of there.
Yeah, this is fine. I think Habibi, he's trying to farm up to get the Blade Mail, so not opting to get the Force off, which Blade Mail is fine. I think he realizes, okay, Adestam's if he gets Rocket Barrage off and our Blade Mail, I can do a lot of damage back to him, considering he hasn't gone for a BKB yet. But on the sidelines here, they are going to catch the Axe, who was trying to do a sneaky little play around the side. Snowball going to follow up. Habibi, he's actually going to get decent cogs down, so it's going to be he can escape. But looks like Adestam wants to dive very deep for this one.
Oh, Blinding Light pushes him under the tier 1 hookshot, missed out. Adestam may actually be paying here for his sins as he's been surrounded here by the eNergy team, and Adestam does go down. Shackle comes out from Doom Bunny, not going to last long. The snakes get dropped down. Doom Bunny is going to go down. I don't see a way out, and he gets taken out by a long-range Remnant. They're going to farm out these snakes. The Sunstrike comes down and decimates Odu. How much damage is that Sunstrike doing? I think he was on like a 3rd HP.
Yeah, that was... if it hit 2 of them, he wouldn't have died there, but that's a bit unfortunate. I believe we do have a replay of that.
Let's take a look at that.
He had quite a lot of health, actually. I think he was actually aiming for the Visage. I thought the Visage would move. He was millimeters from being outside of that Sunstrike. Very unfortunate. But yeah, that's what you get when you go maxed out Exalt on the Invoker, a large amount of pure damage. So nice kill there for Deppy.
Chelsea ever making his way closer to their Blade Mail. Is that going to be the game-changing item for the Axe, the Blade Mail?
I think it's good because he's going to be able to just call the gyrocopters, dealing a lot of damage, and even through the Blade Mail, he can get a decent amount of damage, allowing for his team to follow up the Ember with the Remnants damage. Yeah, it's pretty good. I think I like it a lot. It looks like the Ember might also be going for a Blade Mail himself, so 3 Blade Mails potentially on the side of eNergy.
Well, I mean, against an Epicenter, the Flak Cannon from Adestam, the AoE from Invoker, I think it's the play.
I like it a lot. I think I can agree with you 100% there. And it seems like Visage did opt to go for the Solar Crest, so that's really nice. Finished up the Hand of Midas now. It is off cooldown, so passive Hand of Midas. But he should be able to pop it soon. Yeah, there we go. He's also going to find level 2 familiars now. This is really nice for him. It means he can farm a lot more efficiently with them. And they also got a little bit of extra HP just to survive Adestam. But Adestam's scaling so well right now. I think his Sunjin Yash is flying out to him. He has a bit of an issue to deal with, to be fair.
Just looking at vision on the map, both teams do not exactly know where each other is. This is the vision of the Radiant. There's no Dire on the map except for Mr. Chelsea. They know where he is exactly. This is the vision for the side of the Dire. They know where 2 of the players are. So Vision doing a decent amount of work. When do they decide to jump into the pit?
Yeah, that's actually a very good question. I think both sides are a little bit afraid because Sunstrike can keep constant vision, and an Axe call into a pit is the worst thing to deal with, as well as the ability that Clockwork can keep constant vision in the pit. So both teams I expect to be slow, but a big fight.
Here comes the ball in from Dota and Dota. They drop the snakes. Habibi gets the hook shot off, and they wreck out the side of that Doom Bunny. Goes down immediately. Dota and Dota also goes down. Habibi has plopped out his Blade Mail as well. Now Skynet trying to run away. Strike makes easy work of him over there. They're going to farm up those snakes as well. As this is all going on in the top lane, Deppy going to try and trade out a tier 2. And eNergy making their presence known, and his Blade Mails are getting so much done. 2 done for the side of eNergy so far. Chelsea, Habibi, and then soon to be chosen one as well. It is going to be a difficult situation for XTC to actually deal with.
Yeah, to put it in the smallest way. Odu actually being trapped in the trees here. Rotations are coming from the Shadow Shaman. Sunstrike's going to latch. He's dead. There's actually no escape. He just gets Walrus punched uppercut into the air, and Dota and Da will secure himself that kill.
I think they just Dota and Da wanted to do Colin McGregor, Odu Mayweather.
Yeah. Just gets rid of him, deletes him from the game. But now the
Shaman.
Shaman.
They're gonna catch Doom Bunny, and he goes down really easy. So they kind of trade out support for support. And really good little trade there that they got. But 20 minutes into the game with XTC sitting with a very small margin in terms of net worth. Kills going 15-3. Let's take a look at our experience graph, and ever so slightly sitting in favor of eNergy.
Yeah, that's I think eNergy are all right. They still not too far behind in net worth. We must keep in mind that the Axe was jungling, so that is gonna help him out. But the Keeper of the Light is really got not much at all. He's still trying to get that Ags. It's quite a long way away from it. If we look back to game 1, where Doom Bunny was playing on the Keeper of the Light, he got a ridiculously good timing on his Ags. But this time, just because of the greedy lanes, there wasn't the allowance for so much freedom for Odu to be moving around the map. So I suppose it's one of the costs, but they're still managing to keep up, especially up against the Invoker so far ahead. So I feel like eNergy are more than happy with their current position right now.
Well, they do have the Midas up on the Invoker. They got the Midas up on Strike. So those two net essentially equate to a 0 net difference, having those 2 Midases up. Doom Bunny just hiding in the sidelines here. Maybe trying to bait using Adestam here a little bit. They want to pull a Jabeda.
Yeah.
Or a Jabba Beta, I should say.
Yeah. But this actually, they're going to go for the hook shot here, surely, in the bot lane. If they scatter one of these supports, Rocket's going to give them a good idea as to who's here, Adestam, walking in that area.
Habibi going to get vision here from the Familiars, going to see if he can jump on anyone. And here we go, get ready. The rocket, the missile comes out, the ball's going to be coming out as well. and they're going to try and find down Chelsea. The punch comes out, they're going to wreck down Chelsea. Cool down is being used, Habibi going in there, popping out the blade mail, and the cogs just pushing Hatastam away, and the Snakes getting too much done, and absolute chaos happening in the bot lane. They lose 4. XTC take a very convincing fight.
Yeah, really good fight there for them, and the only one to escape. So I do believe we have a replay of that huge fight. So the snowball comes through really well. They scout out with the vigil onto Habibi so they can quickly sort of shut him down. He only gets a shot off on Hatastam, who manages to survive, and then a lot of them really just tumble on the sidelines there. Just a pretty poor execution, I suppose, coming from eNergy, but good awareness from XTC that was potentially happening.
I think XTC was prepared for that. They were looking to actually use Hatastam as a little bit of a draw card. Let's get eNergy here. Let's wreck them, was the thoughts in the side of XTC's mind. And as that happened, the hook shot came in and just went sideways for the side of eNergy.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think they've come to a conclusion now. Habibi's actually going for the pipes and not going for the force off, which is quite interesting. They realize there's a lot of magical damage actually coming out. The Ether Shock's doing a lot of work to them, as well as the Invoker being a major problem. And of course the Sand King, his epicenter is just so tragic if it does catch out any of them. So I like the idea of going for a pipe, potentially a hood. I think the Axe might even look in the same direction just to get some extra magic resistance onto himself.
And Invoker sitting pretty on the logs. Hatastam next. The Strike sitting just below the 10k mark, followed up by Chelsea, and then Chosen One on the Invoker. On the Ember Spirit. A kind of net worth that you wouldn't expect to have on your Ember Spirit. That was mid.
Yeah, he's had a tough time. He didn't really go for any farming ability items. He's actually going for Battle Fury now, which is a pretty old build. It's still viable though. A lot of people say, oh, but you have to only build Veil right now. It's still very, very viable to be going for the Battle Fury. But meanwhile, Invoker going to find a kill here onto Odu in the bot lane. He's been just hiding in the trees, sort of pushing these lanes out, and yeah, I mean, Invoker can get rid of him quickly.
Oh, they do lose Chelsea in the mid lane though. Made easy work there. Popping out the Epi, bringing him down in the top lane. Chosen One trying to help out, didn't make it happen, and losing Chelsea, losing Odu, and now this is the next point of call for the side of XTC.
Yeah, if they manage to find themselves this one, it'll be really nice for them. I think they're going to find a couple of objectives post this one, and I think, yeah, it's still eNergy. They're not in the worst position, but I feel like they felt like they're behind, and they sort of split up trying to find farm. Maybe a little bit of panic coming out from them, realizing that, you know what, if we lose this, we're out. And then XTC go through to the grand finals, and they don't get the opportunity to sort of take down the beast that is White Rabbit Gaming currently. So it's really tough. I think eNergy maybe made a couple of errors now, and they need to defend very well. They need this to work out for them, or else I struggle to see a way for them to find themselves or claw their way back into this game.
Well, Hatastam's got the Aegis. They're going to be looking at trying to push higher ground very soon. They do have an 8k advantage, sitting 21 and 13. Is this the moment where XTC send eNergy to the 3rd place and get themselves up against the WRG? We will only see, time will tell. Some decent positioning here from XTC. Garnet's trying to just stay away from anything that may block or put his blink on cooldown. Strike being homing missiled up, and his familiars are going to try and provide that little bit of protection. In the meantime, tier 2 taking a little bit of chip damage. Odu getting close. Do they find anything? The hook shot comes in. Where is good old Habibi? No, he just popped down the cogs. I heard it, didn't see it, but here comes the jump. Tornado's out. They're going to find Strike. They drop the familiars, trying to get the stun out, but Strike is down. Meteor Ball just too strong, and now putting eNergy in a bit of a precarious position. Down he's their carry, and he does have barback, so he's got barback. He does have it available. Otherwise, he's going to respawn in the next 35 seconds. Chosen One trying to do what he can to clear out those creeps, as well as the rocket flares from Habibi, and XTC may just decide to fall back a little bit. They were getting split push out from the bot lane, and may actually force the side of XTC back a bit. And they hold on for the moment, and Strike will not have to bar back.
Yeah, not only do they get a kill onto Strike there, they also bring down some of these familiars, which is just so expensive. It's 100 gold each. And they also bought a lot of time because the mass open wards were used for Roshan. Now they have mass open wards up again. So if they want to go for the high ground, they can. They did just pop the shrine to get themselves back up to full HP and full mana. And it seems like they're going to reset themselves to potentially look for more. Of course, Depi can teleport himself in very quickly. He does have boost of travel currently up. So he can join the fray very quickly from wherever he is.
Well, Odu does actually have his eggs up, so they do actually know that XTC is in the vicinity, and they're going to be trying to push up in this bottom lane of Rex. The side of this comes out from Chosen One, clearing out the creeps there. The TP comes in from Depi. They want to make a play. They've dropped the snakes. Tier 3 taking quite a bit of damage. Familiar is going to clear out to those wards. Blinding Light out onto Adestam. And just trying to keep himself alive. He does have Aegis. The Illuminate comes out. Dota and Dart sitting just on the bottom lane. They're going to keep Adestam on the high ground here. Push out these lanes. The Sunstrike comes out. Not going to find anyone. Odu going to heal himself up on the sidelines. Adestam still going to put out the chip damage. The flare comes out. Trying to spot out what the side of XTC is up to. The tornado comes in but gets missed out. Chelsea very quick on the fingers, dodging that with his blink. In the meantime, Habibi dives in, gets the cogs off. He's going to go down though. Skarnek gets the blink. The ball comes in. The blade mail's out onto Chosen One. The Aegis is down on the deck. Depi jumps in. Epicenter wrecking the faces of the side of eNergy. And they are down 3 down. Barback on Strike. Sunstrike not going to catch anyone. And the barbacks are coming in thick and fast. XTC trying to bring down those Rex. And the Illuminate not going to catch out Adestam. Blinding Light forcing the side of XTC outside of the base. Homing missile out onto C1. Not going to be able to dodge it out with the Sleight of Fist. And this is becoming an absolute fiasco. Chelsea jumps in, gets the blade mail. Double tornado, EMP, ball coming in. Trying to wreck Odu on the sidelines. Doom Bunny gets the shackle off onto Strike. Chelsea trying to run between the tree lines, keeping himself alive. Sunstrike not going to find the Chosen One, and Strike going to go down. That is a dieback, and this may very well be the moment where they bring down Depi, this absolute monster. It's not, he's going to be able to ghost it up, but he will still pay the price and go down. And the boys from eNergy hold, and they defend, and they protect their ancient.
Not a bad defense, but multiple buybacks were consumed, both from C1 and Strike, both core heroes right now. So XTC, even though they suffered a couple of losses, they won't be too disappointed in that. They found a tier 3 tower. This also opens up the shrines to give them extra gold. So a long drawn out fight there, but eventually they bring down the tier 3 tower, and eNergy sort of defend, sort of keep their hopes alive. Of course, they can be knocked out of this tournament if they do take a tumble here. So this is very important for them to keep whatever hope they can.
This team has grown throughout the year, this eNergy team, and they are looking ever stronger. And considering that the day they had yesterday, for those of you that do not know, eNergy had to go through a grueling test of Battle in Wits. They went up against APG yesterday. They went up against, who was the other team they went up against?
Pulse, I believe.
It was basically a best of 3 series that went all 3 games. It was absolutely grueling. I think the boys had maybe about 20 minutes just to have lunch, and they have been doting the whole weekend, and they're getting themselves to the point where maybe they just all doted out, and XTC coming off the fresh bench, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, eNergy played close to 100-minute games, but I mean, we all just enjoy playing Dota, right? So I don't think it bothers them all that much. I think...
but it's revealing a lot of information. If you're playing like 6 games, that is a lot of heroes being identified by the enemy, XTC, saying, okay, well, eNergy likes these kind of heroes, let's ban them out. And it gives them a lot of information. Bot lane, though, they may lose Depi. The call's good, the cogs is better. Yules is going to try and hold up Depi. Can he get invis? In the meantime, he can't. And Habibi takes him down, the blade mail. Getting some good work done there from the boys. But while this has all been done, XTC want to try and push up this lane. They do have Chosen One in the vicinity. Adestam on the high grounds. They're going to drop the snake. Strike is in the vicinity, and are going to try and take down those wards. And the boys are going to just try and TP out. It has actually been cancelled. The Epi's jumping in, and the call was to stay behind and fight. Habibi very low HP. They're trying to get out of there, but Odu, He wants to maybe be very, very sneaky here. Adestam doesn't have TP, doesn't have mana. Odu may want to try and do something. There's the mana leak, going to hold him back. The Illuminate, Odu's going to go 1v1 in the meantime. Dota and Die does go down to the Chosen One. But I'm more interested in this fight here. Can Odu devastate Adestam? And looks like he may be able to get out. The pings come through. The Force Staff is there. Adestam, can he dodge around? He's hiding in a very sneaky position here. And there is Odu. The eggs appear. The daylight is there. And Adestam gonna be punished. And daylight, about time. A little bit of luck for the side of eNergy. They find Adestam. And eggs for the Kotl pay off.
Man, he didn't have enough mana to TP out. He actually used his Hurricane Pike to get across the river because he thought that they were going to find him there. So he would have had enough to TP out just in time. They actually gave up the search and, oh man, the Ags, it's sort of like being caught with your hand in the cookie jar there. So a bit unfortunate one for Adestam to swallow, but a really good defense again from eNergy. They didn't take too much damage. They took a little bit to their range racks. Their melee racks is going to heal back up. So they, again, going to be happy with that defense, still keeping their hopes alive, their hopes and dreams alive, to come and snag up some of that big prize pool money up for grabs.
Oh, just looking at the net worth, a little bit of a big dip going in favor of eNergy. Skynet does find out Odu. Deppy's in the vicinity. Meteor Ball, Tornado, Deafening Blast, even Shivers to boot, but Strike's there and going to try and protect them out. Shrine is even being popped up, Blinding Light being used out. Do they decide to continue here? The shackles come out. C1 holding possession, but the call from Chelsea comes in. There's the Yules, going to try and help out Doom Bunny. It's not going to happen. The dike is there. Kobe Bryant, your baby. Chosen One trying to find down. And the Epi comes out. The hook shot's good. Do we see the cogs coming out? Battery Salt is good. And now Mr. Deppy in a little bit of trouble. The Root is out as well. And another dunk for Chelsea. And rooted out Skynet. Before you know it, 3 down for the side of XTC. And eNergy, they are pulling together, and they are not, by any means, done just yet.
Man, eNergy, with this defense, it looked really bleak for them for a huge bulk of this game, but all of a sudden, just some really nice plays coming out from them. Odu surviving that entire combo from the Invoker. A little bit of missed timing coming out from Deppy, unfortunately. But actually in the mid lane is Tusk, who's in a lot of trouble. Boots of Travel 2 used up. Oh,
the TPs come in. They're going to find Dota and Die. And now it is 3 down still for the side of XTC. Shadow Shaman has been brought alive and will be joining the fray very, very soon.
Yeah, so one of the things now, eNergy are sort of finding their footing. They're right back in this game. High ground is going to be a difficult one for them to successfully do, because an Invoker is just so great at defending high ground, as well as a Gyrocopter. His cooldown's a little bit of an issue because it helps clear the waves, it slows you down a little bit. So that's going to be tough, and that's going to be the next train of thought. But for now, they've done a great job. Some interesting wards being placed in the jungle here, but I suppose they just have the idea that we might not be able to make it back to the side of the map anytime soon, so if I can get the other vision down for the extended period of time. So, yeah. It's interesting.
Well, something else that was very sneaky during that play there, the Familiars allow Chosen One to actually TP on the Familiars, and then the recall from Odu brings in Strike. So if Odu spots out an enemy, you can have 3 enemies taking you on in a matter of seconds. They do try and jump into the pit. Maybe XTC knows what's happening, and they're going to look like they're going to play it a little bit safe. The Tusker, the initiator, is sitting still back in base. They managed to get themselves the Aegis, this time not snatched, and they may be looking for blood. And before you know it, the net worths have completely gone in the other direction, and it is now, that is the Everest. They do get the searing chains off, the call down being used, the ball there, the hook shot is found. Doom Bunny 2 being caught in the cogs, but now Skynet once in, he jumps in. Adestam being caught out on the sidelines. Deppy throws down the ball, Deafening Blast, and now a lot of damage being dealt to the side of eNergy. Staying alive by Odu, well, with the Illuminate being brought out. The Aegis is down on the deck, Blinding Lights is there. The Snake's doing so much work. Strike getting himself a double kill. Yule's being used up by Deppy, going to keep himself alive for a little bit longer. Mana leak out onto Deppy, the ball comes in. Odu is being attracted there by Dota and Dot. Deppy trying to get himself out of there. But there's the Remnant. Can they close it out? Triple kill for Strike. Absolutely chaos here in the bot lane. But Deppy gets out, stays alive, and only losing Habibi and Chelsea for the side of XTC.
Yeah, Strike's doing so much work in these team fights. It looked a little bit scary there. 3 of them were inside the cogs and easy setup for the Invoker, but they just don't have the damage output. And, Tornado looking to defend this high ground. Might want to be careful.
They get the Searing Chains off. Oju gets the Mana Leak. Deppy gets the Yules off. And now the chip damage of their own comes out. Deafening Blast, Meteor. Slider Fist trying to dodge that out. The Illuminate getting some work done into Deppy, popping out the Shrine. Do they have enough to bring down this tier 3? Strike getting a lot of damage done. Now only has the Rod of Atos Shivers. No real damage items. If he starts building into those big core damage items, maybe a Bloodthorn, Strike is going to be hitting like an absolute animal.
Yeah, that fight was so good for them. They got a decent amount of chip damage done to this tier 3 tower, and that was just a comedy of errors, it seemed, for the side of XTC. I suppose they didn't make too many errors, but I do believe we do have a replay of that fight.
Let's take a look at that again.
Yeah, so it's just, the Shearing Chains was really good here. He caught out to the hookshot on the sidelines. They jumped inside the cogs here to sort of give assistance to Habibi, and that was pretty scary because it's set up so nicely for an Invoker to get a combo down. But look at this, they just couldn't kill. It just turned to nighttime a second as the blast came through, so managed to heal up his team fast enough. It looked a little bit bleak here, but really good work coming out from the side of eNergy to turn this one around. And Tusk doing what he can to try and save his Invoker. He unfortunately had to take a tumble for this one, but just a lot of work done on the sidelines here by Visage. They just completely underestimate how much work he can actually pull off. Deppy pretty lucky to survive though on that backside. So could have been a team wipe, but they just didn't have enough.
If that was a team wipe, that would have been phenomenal for the side of EN. 40 minutes into the game, sitting 28-29, and the net worths tell a grave story. XTC in a dominating lead of 15k, and now EN are clawing themselves back, sitting at a deficit of 0, essentially.
Yeah.
A 0 net worth advantage. Taking a quick look at experience, eNergy got that in trumps, sitting with 15k experience advantage. So eNergy now are doing it, they're bringing it back. Could we call it that XTC's made a couple of blunders and given eNergy the advantage, or has it just been eNergy that have been playing unbelievably well?
I think eNergy's been playing extremely well, but I also think it comes down to the draft. We spoke about, the panel also brought it up, that Gyrocopter has been a bit shaky this tournament, to say the least, 0% win rate, and not really getting the damage output he'd liked. Adestam went for the Satanic to keep himself alive. He did use it in that fight, and he just didn't get enough from it. As well as you're playing up against the Keeper of the Light, so the daytime sort of situation, same as in Game 1, we got to keep an eye on that clock, because eNergy are going to have an advantage every time it is the middle of the day. And they've managed to swing the net worth graphs around entirely. It was almost a 15k net worth lead, and it's pretty much been brought down to a 0. It's a huge swing.
It's going to hurt the side of XTC if they only knew that they were 15k ahead. And eNergy, they want the shot to have a go at WRG, and XTC is making it a little bit difficult for them, but they want it, they need it, and they've earned their place being in the semi-finals.
Yeah, so I like the itemization coming out from Strike here. So he didn't go for the Ags, which is absolutely fine. Like you said, the Flak Cannon is going to be a major issue for those. But going for the Atos into the Shivas, giving him bonus armor, he's just almost impossible to kill, and at the same time on the sidelines just doing so much damage, controlling them up with Atos and the Shivas.
Odu's going to become the observer here on the higher ground, trying to see what he can see, and it was a couple of XTC players here in the vicinity. Before a big fight turns out, let's take a quick look at our buyback statuses. Nothing available for the Tusk, nothing available for the SK, and 0 buybacks for the Shadow Shaman. All buybacks available for eNergy, so this is going to be a crucial fight for XTC.
Yeah, XTC definitely need to hold this high ground. Fortunately, their opponents don't have something like a Shadow Shaman, because that could secure them some objectives, but they're still pretty strong now. Like I said, daytime, this is a really good peak time for eNergy. They're definitely going to look to take multiple objectives. They might even wait for the Roche. I think that time period is just too long. I think that's something that they can't really do, but finding these objectives, taking control of the map, that's pretty much all they need to do right now to help themselves just get further into the game, because Ember's gone for a far more late game build than we're used to seeing in this current meta.
Well, they eNergy pretty much gave the likes of XTC, Deppy, and Edistam a free shrine here. Not putting any pressure on the top lane. I would have expected a little bit more, but Edistam, Deppy, getting a free shrine, forcing back the side of eNergy. Maybe they're doing exactly what you say. They want this game to go to the late game. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but the gyro doesn't actually scale really well into the late game. He can't really contend with what's on the side of EN.
Well, he can, but he requires damage items eventually, and he's still got to go BKB now, so he's not really going to be doing much. The only sort of damage he's dealing is from his Sanjin Yasha, and it's just, that's the problem. The only real right-click damage coming out is from an Invoker. One of the things that they can do, however, is Alacrity up Edistam in the team fights. He can deal a decent amount of damage out, but it's not as problematic as an Ember Spirit with Battle Fury and now with the Daedalus on hand. So that's going to be a bit of a concern, as well as all the work that this Visage is doing. It's very easy to underestimate how much damage he can actually do. And Strike, this is a hero that he's pretty infamous for. Everyone sort of is aware of, okay, give Strike Visage, you're in a lot of trouble. And he won't mind taking this hero into the late game.
So what do you trade out on Edistam? I mean, we're talking about damage items. He's pretty much got a couple of items there that he can trade out. Probably want to keep himself the TP scroll. When it starts coming to the point where he needs to trade out, what are the big items we're talking about? What are the damage items? Is it going to be MKB? Is it going to be Daedalus? Is it going to be Butterfly? What are the items that they're looking for?
So I think it's more than likely going to have to be an MKB due to Blinding Lights as well as the Solar Crest. He will have to probably get himself, just keep backpack his TP scroll and trade out that Aquila, unfortunately, my favorite item. But yeah, he'll have to just maybe trade out the Aquila. He needs the BKB though, because he needs to survive in these fights. He needs to make sure he can get full duration of his Satanic off. So he's really got to wait for a much later period of the game before he can sort of really be dealing this tremendous amount of damage. So yes, at a certain stage, he's going to be a big concern. But eNergy, at the same time, Ember is going to almost consistently scale. He's got Daedalus now. He's going to absolutely destroy the lives of something like a Shadow Shaman on the back line. Even the Tusk, he's got 1.8k health, so he'll be a little bit better in that sense, but still can take a huge amount of damage from that Ember Spirit.
Well, it seems that XTC is making their way to the top lane. Rosh is not going to be the next objective. He's only going to be back in the next 1 minute 40. And XTC going to try and close the noose a little bit in the top lane, as eNergy going to make their way in the mid lane. Although they do know something's up, you do have Odu and Chosen One sitting here and defending the top lane. A vision at the moment for the teams is they have no idea, well, besides for the fact that Chosen One's just revealed himself on the map. But the vision on the map for the side of eNergy is lacking. They've only got the one ward sitting here, so they don't really know what the movements are. And with all that said and done, XTC decided, listen, let's just get out of here. We don't know what's happening, as eNergy are actually in the lead now for the first time with their net worth.
Yeah, that's one of the things, right? They've managed to pull this game back really quickly. And one of the heroes that have sort of spiked in net worth is that of the Visage, as well as the Axe. He was in a tight spot, and even the solo sort of supporting Clockwork is doing pretty well for himself. He's got the pipe up, which has been tremendous at helping out his team. He's now going for the Heaven's Halberd, which is, like we were saying, the Gyrocopter is going to want to start doing right-click damage, and now he's going to be in a bit of a pickle there, as he's just not going to be able to right-click. Even if he has a BKB, as long as they can get that Heaven's Halberd down on him in time, the Gyrocopter's in trouble. So Habib's still got a way to go before he gets there, but no, not even. He's pretty close. If he wants to sacrifice his buyback, he can pretty much be almost there. So, oh, there is something that could be coming up sometime soon.
Well, Edistam does have his BKB, so this is a good spike here for the side of XTC to actually take the fight at the moment. The old man is awake, and he's ready to be devoured if they choose to go that route. And XTC hasn't actually scouted it out. We do have a dust being popped out into Doom Bunny and Dota
bot lane.
They're not going to try and find it. Bot lane, though, that was a remnant, eh?
Yeah, he remnanted out. That was so close. He got sheeped up, so it was pretty close to him dying. Very fortunate to manage to escape that one there. But there we go. Right on instant
but they know, here we go. As the side of Ian going in there, and they're going to be chasing down. They're going to try and break it out. Odu's going to try and show himself, and they may have to get themselves out of here. Chelsea, he gets the BKB off, going to jump in there. Hastags gets bashed out by Roche. How unfortunate, he can't get out of there. There's the sheep, and they are going to try and decimate Hastags. The epicenter comes in. The snake's doing the work. The Aegis is on the deck, but Dota and Die grabs it, and now the BKBs have been popped out. Chelsea taking a huge amount of damage. They lose strike, and all of a sudden XTC looking in a very good position. Odu, the only one alive, and they lost the Shadow Shaman as XTC are looking phenomenal. And the charge is, boys, down mid. Let's go. They only got bar. They have popped their barbacks, chosen one strike. They're using it up. Habibi still got his barback, doesn't want to use it just yet, and they're going to require Odu to defend as long as he can. He throws out the Illuminate, and with Chosen One and Odu still in the vicinity, going to be good enough. But they're putting pressure on the bot lane here as well. The Slider Fist comes out. Lotus all being popped out onto Scarnet. They're going to try and see where the opening lands out. The Mana Leak out onto Hastags. Doesn't have any mana available. He does have enough now for the Hurricane Punch should he need it. He does still have Satanic. The 4-staff being used out here by Odu, trying to get himself into a good position. They lose the 1 Rax, and XTC slowly chipping away, and they get what they wanted, just the 1 lane of Rax, as Chelsea is about to come alive in the next 10 seconds.
Yeah, I believe we have a replay of the rush fight. I was just about to ask if we can get that, because this was really important. This is a swinging tide in the game. A good call comes out from Chelsea, but he only catches out 1. Hastags, it looked like he was in big trouble. He's pretty damn tanky. Got his BKB off, was very patient with his Satanic. I think he eventually used it over here, and I think they just managed to turn that fight around solely on the BKBs. It was just really big. Fighting into Serpent Walls was also a concern. So losing 4 there, very high risk play. It seemed like eNergy weren't well positioned for that sort of defense of Roshan. And now we'll see if they can defend the Ancient.
It actually looked like at that part there, Odu actually 4-staff, not 4-staff, blinding lighted the Tusk in there, or the SK in there. And that was only after Chelsea had got the call off. So it actually became a little bit of a problem, because now you oversaturated what was happening in the Roche pit, and it was just too much to tank it through. So, yeah, it just turns out that the side of XTC, Dota and Die, picks himself up the Aegis, and he would be really happy about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not the ideal person to have Aegis, but they didn't lose it. That was the biggest thing for them. Now they're just going to say, okay, listen, guys, it's daytime. We don't need to fight. We can just hold back, defend our high ground if necessary until nighttime. Then we can look to make our next set of plays. So, I mean, they did lose Aegis, so they don't have that anymore, I don't believe. Yeah, they gave away the cheese now. So Aegis was lost in that team fight. Something that we probably should have acknowledged.
Aegis is available. It's on
Dota on Dota and Die. Yeah.
So he's still got it. Hasn't been popped. It is available. So it is daytime, and I suppose the reason why they're being a little bit cautious is just because of the coddle.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry about that. I could have sworn I looked in his inventory and didn't see it, but yeah, okay. They still have the Aegis, but it is on Dota and Die. If it was on Invoker or something like that, that would have been major concern for eNergy. So this could largely be the reason why XTC don't want to overextend right now. They know that they have a sort of vision disadvantage. Coddle still managed somehow to hold on to a gem. I think a gem must have been lost in that fight. Unless he actually dropped it back at base before they went to fight at Roche just in case. Yeah, no gem on the opposing side.
No, they've only got it on Odu, so he's
there's one in base, sorry.
In
Ecstasy's, in Ecstasy's base.
Okay,
yeah.
so he must have bought a new one. But now, I mean, things have kind of like stalled out a little bit. I mean, eNergy should really be feeling comfortable at the moment. It's daytime. It's where Kotel excels. and they the ones being very defensive. But XTC, they now saying, right, well, okay, if you guys aren't going to do anything, it is time to make a play. And they're going to wrap themselves up around here. They want to get themselves that last lane of racks to secure that racks. But there's the familiar. Spot out what's happening here. They're going to try and find out the familiars. They are going to hook one, and they're going to bring down those familiars really quickly. And it's going to reduce the vision here for the side of eNergy. The question is, do they have enough to hold and defend against the likes of XTC? And again, another net worth swing. I mean, this seems like we are building the Himalayas.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's a roller coaster ride, and it's going back and forth. XTC is somehow managing to claw their way back from something that looked really treacherous with a Roshan fight when they were sort of down and out, and they managed to turn that one around. But I think I sort of underestimated how tanky Gyrocopter actually is. He is pretty damn tank. Yeah, he's not dealing all the damage, but with unable to pop BKBs on the opposing side. I think they have BKB on Axe, and that's it. They just can't really deal with the damage that the Invoker's doing. Yes, they got the pipe to sort of sponge up a little bit of it, but not enough right now. So it's a bit of an issue for the side of eNergy, just the lack of BKBs, I feel.
Well, the BKBs are going to be a little bit of a problem. Chelsea's BKBs still sitting at 9, so it's still relatively new. Strike, he's trying to get himself his next item. What do you think it's going to be? He's got 3.6 in the bank, ready to spend it. What do we do?
I think he's looking.
What does he get?
I think he's looking for boots of trouble. His surplus is only 1.2k, so he wants to make sure he has buyback. Yes, it's on cooldown for 2.5 seconds, but if he consumes up all that gold, it's going to be a difficult task for him to get that back. So boots of travel probably is what he wants to save for. He might just trade that up depending on what sort of happens from this point on.
There you go. The line has been drawn in the map, and this is probably the trajectory that XTC will take. And it is going to be one of those stall-out moments. eNergy could very well be going home if they cannot hold against the onslaught of XTC. The game is currently 1-0 in favor of XTC. This is a best of 3, and we could be saying goodbye to eNergy if they cannot hold or win this next game. XTC wants to close this out. They don't want to go through another grueling matchup, as things have been completely equal, I would say. I mean, these teams are very, very equal.
Yeah.
And XTC doing an amazing job to keep them their heads held high, and eNergy doing their best to try and defend the last fight, the last onslaught, the last stand, if we could even say Leonidas and his 300 men.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. This is sort of, they've got to go all out. They need to make sure that this defense is going to be successful, because if it isn't, I can't, or there's definitely no easy way for them to pull that game back from there. They're still in a pretty decent position. Yeah, they're 9k down, but they do have the right heroes to sort of deal with the high ground defense. They have the right heroes to sort of catch up, and there's a certain item queued up on the Ember Spirit that could turn things around very, very quickly.
And the Siege is trying to start out. Odu going to be defending out this lane. It doesn't have an Octarine core on the Odu. I do know one of my fellow casters do love the Ember Spirit, but here we go. Here is the engagement. Chelsea jumps in, gets a 2-man call. The Sunstrike does come down, and Strike gets the first kill down onto Scarnet. The Rod of Atos is there under EMP. Chosen One throwing out the Slider Fist. They're going to try and bring down Dota and Die. He doesn't have the Aegis anymore. He gets burnt out. In the meantime, Habibi cleans out Doom Bunny, and this is looking fantastic for the side of VN. There comes out the Tornado. Chosen One TP's in. Can they find Depi? They can't. They don't have the gem. While this is all happening, Habibi just making sure that the bot lane does not push in. And the boys from EN, they turn it around. They defend, taking down 3 for the side of XTC, and patience prevails.
Absolutely, they've done a fantastic job at defending there. They didn't have Aegis anymore on the Tusk, so XTC probably overstaying their welcome. It just turned to daytime, so pretty risky stuff. However, Depi will find a kill into BB in the bot lane, and Depi might want to get himself on that. Has to use that BKB to make sure he doesn't get stunned up. But C1 not giving up on this one, but a good tornado from Depi should. Oh, actually.
Oh, Menelik gotta catch up. No! But the blinding light doesn't get caught, and that is a blunder. The Chelsea call being missed. Odu forcing him away. And Depi must be thanking the gods above.
Man, that was close. If they caught Depi there, that would have made that fight just way ahead. They would have just caught up massively. They caught up about 4K from that team fight, which is tremendous in itself. But it's also meant that they got an opportunity now to gain some sort of position of their jungle back, some of the map back. But if they killed the Invoker there, they could have gone high ground.
Let's take a look at the Odu blunder.
Yeah, so big jump forward from C1. It's a good tornado because he was aware that it was coming. I think they got vision, but yeah, he's stunned here. Definite call. And then Odu just blows him backwards. Oh, man, feels really bad. And a little bit of BM coming at you from Depi for that escape. He feels lucky, I'm telling you that. He's definitely, it seems like he's wiping the sweat off his brow right now, I'm sure.
Yeah, that was extremely lucky. The boys at XTC, they know what is happening, and they want more. Odu, he knows exactly what's shaking and baking at this point in time. But there they go. Chelsea jumps in. They get the call. Doombunny gets exploded. Our shards are there. Homing missile coming out, but the tornado's there. EMP drop call downs there. Adestam runs into the middle, trying to right click away. They're going to lose Odu. He goes down as Depi takes him to the cleaners, and Chelsea's trying to get himself out of there. They lost the Shadow Shaman. They lost Odu. He's fought back, but the Rod of Atos is down. They're going to lose Skynet. The Lotus has been popped out. Tornado from Depi just controlling this fight just too good. And eNergy, they are looking and they are hunting. They get the buyback from Odu and making sure that Rosh is not being the target. C1 taking a chunk of damage from the Sunstrike of Depi. And things have just stalled out for the moment. They need to do something here. Odu actually using the buyback, doesn't want to die, but does not want anything further to happen out in the Rosh bush. What actually happened to the gem, we'll find out shortly. The Sunstrike comes in just to scout out Rosh, and Depi continually being an absolute nuisance here.
Yeah, 2 gems in the base for XTC right now, and you touched on it. One of the biggest things is very peculiar. It seems like XTC are forced to try and take Rosh during the daytime. Because Rosh is up, they don't want to give it away to their opponents. They realize if they have the Aegis, we're in big trouble. But if you try and take Aegis against the Keeper of the Light, who can give you constant vision, and the clock's going to keep a constant eye on you. Now they know again, this could potentially be another fight. Odu, he is in the general area, is going to give pretty decent vision, but it seems like Addison is saying, nah, you know what, I'm tanky enough, I've got MKB now, I can hit pretty hard, I'm going to take Rosh.
The ball comes out from Dota and Die, there's the cogs. They're going to try and separate. Beautiful play coming out from the Clockwork. Habibi doing amazing work, and Dota and Die going to get away free of charge pretty much, but the Snake's still doing some decent work on Rosh. They need to try and defend this Chelsea invest. He gets a 3-man call. That is massive. Habibi jumps into the pit. They eradicate Doombunny. Rosh shot is down. Strike takes out Adestam. The Aegis has been picked up by Doombunny. And now the fight continues. They're going to bring down Dota and Dub. Perhaps can they? The flare comes out. Habibi doing amazing work. Buyback on 3. And Mr. Skynet, can he get away? The Familiars going to try and keep Skynet busy here in the meantime. Had to actually TP back to base. They lost the bottom lane of Rax during that entire team fight. And now they have got 2 alive for the side of Ian. Let's take a look at that once again.
Yeah, so this was just a massive call here from Chelsea. Catching out 3, they were definitely looking for the re-engage. A hook shot from Habibi onto Adestam that quickly burst him down. That Visage doing so much work there. And Habibi just, sorry, it was actually picked up by Doombunny? Denied the Aegis. Okay, that's something we didn't see. The Aegis got denied. So that's pretty big. But all at the same time, the Invoker was also pushing out the bot lane, got that melee rack. So that's a little bit of a bonus for them. But now it's their high ground that is under siege.
And no buybacks just being used up yet. Tusk, the jump call comes in out into Depi. Can they take advantage of this? The Lotus Orb is out into Skynet. And Shine being popped out. They're going to try and get themselves out of there. The buybacks do come in from Adestam as well as Dota and Da, and they need to get themselves out. They lose strike. That is a big kill, a big blow for the side of eNergy. And the Sunstrike not going to find anyone as they were trying to look for Odu, and the side of XTC get back. Only losing strike. He does have buyback, so no real threat for eNergy at the moment.
Yeah, XTC is sort of saying, guys, it's go time. We got MKB up on Adestam. He's hitting pretty hard. It's night time. We can maybe force out of his buyback on Visage. Let's try to get another objective at least. It seems like that's theirs. Okay, they're actually backing out. This I find surprising. This is a pretty good opportunity. They've got 2 minutes of nighttime remaining, and then we can definitely expect to see eNergy want to start walking forward. So maybe they're just trying to reclaim the map right now. I think they're not taking too big of a risk. They know what's at stake. They want to just close this 2-0, but the side of eNergy are not going to have any of that.
Well, looking at the buybacks at the moment, XTC not looking the best. They've got 3 of their heroes on cooldown and only the 1 for good old Odu on the Kotl. So eNergy looking in a better position. If they want to take a fight, I believe the time is now. As soon as it's daylight, they need to go.
Yeah, Adestam's going to be in a lot of trouble now. 2 Heaven's Halberds have been picked up. 1 on the Axe, 1 on the Clockwork. 2 heroes, they can close the gap on him very quickly before he can get that BKB off. That's a major problem for him. That means that he's going to be doing very little damage. But also, if you wouldn't mind just clicking on that Ember Spirit, my friend, and looking what he has queued.
That is going to be absolutely beautiful when it comes online. They do take the top tier 3 though, and they're going to start trying to mount the defense. The Snakes are doing a huge amount of work. They actually lose the range Rex pretty much for free. And now the thing is, get Shadow Shaman close enough to the Rexes, and he is going to bring it down pretty much solo. You've got the entire team of eNergy trying to right-click down these Snakes and still doing a chunk of work here. Another 100 HP to go. Could they make it happen? And no, just by the skin of their teeth, they can't actually bring it down. They've already lost the bottom lane of Rex. Losing the top full lane of Rex would have been absolutely devastating. The melee Rex will regen though after time. It will take some time, so eNergy need to keep, XTC needs to keep the pressure up if they want to bring it down.
Yeah, so it regens at 5 per second, which is pretty quick. So they have a decent amount of time to at least sort of control that lane up. But if we look over at the clock, it's daytime in about 10 seconds time. So I believe eNergy will be looking to utilize this to their advantage, of course, having the Keeper of the Light, but also giving that vision advantage.
Oh, Paul's just been used out. This is a good time to go. The call comes in from Chelsea. They're bringing him back. Drop the familiars, baby, down. The sheep has been used out. Rod of Atus is there, and the Illuminate is good. And Chelsea gets the dunk. And that is good night, Dota and Die. He is down for 100 seconds. And this could very well open up the mid lane to the side of eNergy. But they are retreating, and they are falling back.
Yeah, so they're going to go for the top, and I believe we do have a quick replay of that engagement there. So, I mean, Dota and Die, I think he sort of sacrifices himself here. I don't know why he snowballs backwards there. Could have maybe potentially used that to buy a little bit of time for his team to turn around, but I don't think the side of XTC really want to take a fight at this current stage, especially seeing that it is daytime. But they had to retreat there because their lanes were pushing in pretty hard, and they can't afford to really lose another lane of action, which they actually are going to. Whoa, man, that was close. Sunstriking.
No damage, no building damage there, my friend.
That's just pure BM. That is just BM. Cheeky stuff. But yeah, not getting the racks, that's a little bit unfortunate there for them. They are going to be forced to hold on to their high ground. Almost 3 minutes of daytime left. It's a lot of time for eNergy to sort of find something to gain in this period of time, but it seems like XTC are fully aware and are more than willing to defend their high ground.
Well, it looks like eNergy, they're just making sure no shenanigans take place here in the top lane. All they need to do is get this little laddie, Doom Bunny, close enough to that Rax, drop down his snakes, and that is another lane of Rax. Even if he dies, if he just drops those wards, that is one dead Rax. So they're just making sure that none of those shenanigans take place. And a little fun fact for those of you that don't know, that the 2 supports here for the side of eNergy, Odu and Habibi, were basically the previous Bravado players that were unbeatable for the last half a decade, I'd say. So these two support players, Odu and Habibi, have literally been in this position numerous times, always fighting their way back. And the BMT coming out from these boys is unbelievable, keeping the team together. And I have no doubt that the reason they're still doing so well is because of these two supports.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, BMT. That is really, really important. One of the things that was also making a big change in these team fights is Strike having this Assault Cuirass. It's just assisting his team so much, especially someone like an Axe, giving him that bonus armor, really, really useful. So the side of eNergy sort of struggling to fight into this because, I mean, gaining from this. The side of XTC are struggling into this one because they're also getting reduced on armor, and the amount of physical damage that does come out from an Ember Spirit is really, really scary at this stage of the game, and is going to be very, very scary sometime soon.
Oh, that was very quick fingers there from Chosen One. Tornado was inbound. The blink from Scarnet to try and stun out Chosen One was there, but he managed to get onto his Remnant and get himself out. The TP's come on in as the side of eNergy are now pushing out the top lane as Chosen One clears out those creeps really, really quickly. And do we have that bad boy online yet?
Do it.
Oh, let's watch. Let's watch as it gets purchased. Is it going to be done?
Is it? Nah, we got debated.
No, I think he's waiting for that. I think he's waiting for that bad boy there before he actually makes that call. Because I mean, that item on Adestam would hurt the side of eNergy.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That would be horrendous. He can still just turn that into a Radiance though. So. He might just be messing with us right now and just showing that. Look what I
he could be messing with. He could be messing with XTC. I mean, they've probably checked his inventory. They've probably seen the relic.
But they can't see what he's queuing. So
no, they can't see. So it could also be just like really good mind games. Is they jump into a fight and they say, "Go Chosen One, go Chosen One." He has the Divine in the meantime. He hasn't actually completed it just yet.
Yeah, it seems like his team is saying, you know what, we don't necessarily need it yet. If we're down to Megas, for sure, buy it, purchase it. But until then, just hold on to that damage item. And I don't think he's going to go Radiance because he will want to probably convert that into a Rapier if it ever is necessary. But
it CDs the Blink Daggers, though, the Radiance. So if he can get into the backlines before the big engage from XTC comes out, it could really be a big play. I mean, you can't get Skynet blinking in. Deppy can't blink in, can't blink out. It could be a play, but hopefully the Slide of Fist is going to get the work done.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It's always going to be difficult. Skynet's just so good at positioning himself out of vision, out of sight, and he's very, very difficult to sort of control in that sense. But yeah, I mean, still, if you can cancel Blink Daggers, is great, but I don't think that's what their major concern is right now. Their major concern is we might need to clear waves a little bit later if we buy. Yeah, as you can see, he's actually queued something entirely different up and saying, you know what, I'm going to trade this in, and if I need the Divine Rapier, I'll go back for that one. But until then, let me rather get something that's going to be useful for this time being while we have this sort of stagnation in this game currently.
Well, he's queued up a different sort of item. He's actually gone for another Daedalus.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going for the Orchid, right? No?
No, it looks like it's going to actually be the full Daedalus. So he really wants to put out those deeps. The relic actually just been sacked for the moment, going to be put into his backpack. Chelsea in the top lane, though, has got himself the Shadow Blade. Any reason why he'd want to maybe go Silver's Edge? I can't see any reason. So probably just the casual Shadow Blade just to make sure that he can blink in, then a Shadow Blade himself out before he gets molested from the side of XTC.
Yeah, I think Caustic Finale is the only thing, but I think the better cooldown, some stats from it's not too bad. But I think he needs boots to travel before he even looks in that direction. Because as soon as something goes well or terribly for them, they want to get to a certain part of the map very quickly. So I think boots of travel is going to be a necessity for everyone. Although you can rely maybe on the Keeper of the Light to teleport him in, but we can see Keeper of the Light definitely needs that boots of travel very, very soon.
And here we go. This is probably the moment that these teams are waiting for, is to take down this good old man. They jump into the pit. The pings do come out. The flare comes out. They know exactly what's going on. But while this is all happening, we've got a sneaky little bloke here in the top lane. He's actually going to TP back. So they're going to want to try and take this fight here at the rush. But they send in the familiars. They know what's happening. They've exited it out. The flares come out and they want to try and defend this. And eNergy may have done enough to stop that. In the meantime, bot lane though, Mr. Deppy, he's trying to push out that lane, trying to draw the side of eNergy out of their base so they can't defend. And Chosen One is there to try and clear out that wave. He's going to clear out this for the Spirit Forgers pretty easily. The Blinding Light comes in. He's going to force out half the team of the side of XTC. The familiars providing a bit of vision. There comes in the jump in. Habibi gets a two-man cogs. Now the Slider Fist from Chosen One coming in. There's the sheep out onto Dota and Die. Call down being used out. There's the Illuminate. Ball coming in and devastatingly misses out Odu on the backlines. They're going to lose Habibi eventually. Epicenter not going to find anyone. The Mana League coming out. And not going to get much done either. But Shivers is there. Strike gets the Rod of Atos down. Pops the Lincolns. And the Strike is going to right-click away, doing a ton of damage. There comes out the ball from Dota and Die. Going to be working on to Strike. Another Blinding Light coming out. They're going to eventually bring down Scarnet. The shackles come out from Doom Bunny. He's going to have to try and fight off the familiars. The Rod of Atos comes down. There's the Tornado as the familiars are going to keep Adestam in possession. Chelsea looking for a target. Another ball coming in. And can Dota and Die keep himself alive? But Chosen One wants Adestam. There's the call. There's the Blade Mail. Still full 5-man team alive for the side of eNergy. They've lost 3 for the side of XTC. Is it going to be enough? Can they defend it? They're going to lose the top lane of Rex if they don't be careful. And they are pushing in. They're going to shrine up. They need to find Tepi. BKB popped out. Chosen One going to try and right-click him out. There's the BKB. Does he find him? The Sears is there. And Tepi's going to go down as it goes in favor of Odu, bringing down a good old Deppy, breaking his dominating streak. They managed to defend the top lane of Rex as well. And that is a full 5-man team wipe in favor of eNergy, bringing back those networks ever closer to that 0 mark.
Whoa, that was a really, really extended fight there, and not more than that, they managed to defend Roshan. And again, Ecstasy forced to go into the pit during the daytime. Not favorable. We saw what happened to the Clockwork there. He jumped in, he got healed up. Huge amount of heal that came through. Yes, Habibi did have to buy back for that, but the value is definitely worth his while. And now we see eNergy doing what they should. Rush down mid. We're going to just divide. Let's take something. And this is buyback forced out from the Invoker. This is a very big problem right now for the side of Ecstasy. If they fail this defense, this could be going into a game number 3.
Well, they forced another buyback. Adestam trying to hold on to that as long as they can. And the familiars are doing some work down onto that ranged Rex. There's the Tornado. Skynet can't find the Burrow Strike. EMP coming down, finds out Habibi. The snakes have been dropped. The ball comes out. The familiars trying to find Dota and Die. It doesn't happen. And now the blink coming through. O2 defending from the back lines. As C1 does take down Doom Bunny in the sidelines. The Illuminate comes out. The Sunstrike not going to find anyone of drastic importance. And Strike going to walk his way out. C1 going to move back. And they may look at getting themselves out. Barbacks being used up on the side of Ecstasy. This is a pretty big win for the side of eNergy if Ecstasy do not at least find an exit kill here.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Adestam queue something up very similar to what C1 has had queued up for a decent amount of time. It could be necessary, but they did a great job. Once again, they managed to defend the high ground. Buybacks were forced 2 down. In fact, the Invoker as well as the Shadow Shaman. So yeah, we'll see.
And this is now they back into that certain position they wanted, they need it. But Strike is way ahead of you boys. They know exactly what's happening. The call is to get there. The Blinding Light forces them out. And now Searing Chains, Doom Bunny has got the shackles off, but the Tornado cancels it out. C1's been sheeped out, going to remnant himself away. But Chelsea's taking it, he's going in there, finds a 3-man call, and now Chosen One, he's under attack. As Strike is right-click away, Adestam. They might lose Adestam, he was satanic out, but he got sheeped out immediately. And this is going to be a problem. The epicenter coming in, the shackles being used up, the Lotus Orb out onto Chelsea. He's going to randomly pick himself up the Aegis that's sitting on the deck. Chelsea jumps back in, grabs out Hastags, and he goes down, but only the Aegis as Chosen One gets taken down. And now they're looking for more. Chelsea gets invised up, and Hastags not being brought down just yet. Doom Buddy staying alive. Shackles out, good old Odu, and he goes down. And 3 down for the side of eNergy, and all alive for the side of XTC. This has been a back and forwards constantly. They didn't manage to get the Aegis. Chelsea managed to steal it. Well, managed to pick it up. But there on out, XTC looking really, really good.
Yeah, the net worth chart starting to look like Table Mountain there. But high ground now needs to be defended. There's very little left here for eNergy. Buyback forced out, and Rapier purchased by C1. He's TPing himself on in. This is pretty much the situation where his team was waiting for, saying, okay, you got to buy it now. We've got to defend. And this is pretty scary for XTC, but they do have massive Rax advantage. In fact, only one range Rax that does not regen is standing in the way of Megas. Megas are absolute beasts to actually defend against. They've got enough in terms of heroes and item progression, but those Megas are going to push into the base really, really quickly, and that's what XTC is looking for. The familiars do spot out Dota and die, and has it been done? The purchase has been done, and that gorgeous thing sitting in the inventory of Chosen One. Yeah, I think this is maybe our third Rapier this tournament.
Mr. Sargon up there, give us a stat on the amount of divines that have been purchased this tournament.
Yeah, I think it's 3 if I'm not mistaken, but I'm probably going to be proven wrong very shortly. But if we look over at C1, what he's got queued up next.
Another one.
And another one.
Give us another one. There is the hopes and the dreams are slowly getting thinner and thinner, smaller and smaller for the side of eNergy. They have got almost no racks left. This one building is what is standing in the way. It is the 3rd divine that has actually been purchased out. This game is going on to 80 minutes. This is probably going to be, at the moment, I think it's currently the 2nd longest game that's been played. Yesterday we had a game of 92 minutes. That was, eNergy was involved in that one once again. They managed to, I think, get a win from that 92-minute game. Maybe the trend is for eNergy is take it past the 90 minutes, wear down the composure of your enemy team, and then win.
Man, that's a risky way of playing Dota, if you have to ask me. I mean, they took a tumble to Pulse in a long game like this, so we'll see. But the situation, oh my word, look at the Ember Spirit. Whew, okay, so...
okay, so if he gets a decent jump, a decent sleight of fist, things are going to be seriously bad for the side of it.
He sold one of his Daedalus though, so...
This is all in play. I mean, buyback's on cooldown. I mean, he's got no buyback. The play, this is the play. This is the last stand. This is
the 4th
the
one.
Last Samurai.
Sargon, thank you for that stat. The 4th divine purchased this tournament.
Well, that has not changed. That stat has not changed.
No, I think the new one, I think, was the 4th one.
Yeah, this will be the 4th.
Yeah, that's crazy. Man. So, high ground defense is pretty strong still for Ian. Like we said, the Sleight of Fist is going to do a lot of work. It's going to mop up most of the waves, obviously, due to the Battle Fury. I think the side of XTC are still pretty happy with their position. And Adestam's not going to be forced to be the one to buy that very, very scary item of the Divine Rapier. So he's going to be very happy if he manages to pick it up for himself. But I feel like XTC, they're pretty comfortable.
Just to point out is the net worths at this point of the game start becoming really irrelevant. Items are starting to be built up. And Chosen One picking up these Divine Rapiers do just the ridiculous amounts of damage. It does 330 extra damage, 1 item in your inventory. This man is now hitting for almost a K damage. That's excluding the critical strike coming out with the aid of the Daedalus. If he lands a crit with 2 Divine Rapiers in his inventory, what is the expected crit rate?
It's pretty damn high. But another thing that new players need to keep in mind about the Divine Rapier and why it's such a big deal. So when you die, it falls on the ground and the opponent can just pick it up and use it for a hit himself. So it's a...
yes, that's one of those droppable items that can kind of bite you in the bum if you buy it at the wrong situation. The situation now is that they have literally one fight left in Energy to try and defend this. So they are basically doing the all-in play. You're sitting at the table, you're at the grand finals or the grand masters, and you need a play to take them through, to get them to the point that gets the win. And it looks like it's now time for XTC to get up to some mischief here. It is daytime, so the healing potential from Kotl is available. And we may look at things happening pretty soon. Scotty is up for Edistam, so it makes him a lot more tanky and a little bit more harder to bring down.
Yeah, and they've only got a range axe to defend. It's so difficult. They can't afford to take any form of chip because they can't be healed.
Chelsea jumps in. He's committing down to Edistam. There's the hook. They know it has to be done. And Habibi has been disarmed out. They're trying to separate the fight. Edistam managed to actually pop out his Satanic. Chelsea taking a huge amount of damage. Going to bring down Chelsea, right-click him away. There's the epicenter coming out. Habibi in a lot of trouble. And they're trying to split the fight as Chosen One strike, trying to get themselves there. And while this is all happening, they're trying to defend the mid lane of Rack. Strike is in the front lines. Skynet gets the Burrow Strike off. The Rod of Aces is down. EMP, ball, Deafening Blast coming out. There's the Blinding Light. And the Strike has been disarmed. Nothing left in the tank of EN. Habibi is down. Strike goes down. No buybacks available. Gem is on the deck. Chosen One needs to break that attack. And they jump in. XTC try to break down the last lane of racks here for the side of Energy. Only 2 alive for Energy. This may very well be the nail in the coffin, and we may very well be saying goodbye to Energy. Things are looking incredibly well for the side of XTC, and Edistam knocking down the tier 4s, and we may very well be looking at our second place contenders. XTC, what have you done? 20k gold advantage. They drop Chosen One. The Divines are on the ground, and that is it. XTC make it through to CWRG in the finals. And we've got to say goodbye to Energy, as it has been a grueling match for them, but definitely well played to both teams.
Yeah, I was just looking at the camera footage inside the booths there, and XTC embracing each other. Like, we made it, guys. Everyone was doubting them a little bit, and you look at Energy just looking so solemn, so down and out. They got the new roster bit together, the old duo, and yet they take the tumble here. 3rd place, though, not too bad.
Still a good result.
Very good. They've had a hard weekend. Definitely a difficult weekend. But we can be proud of themselves. And XTC now going to play for their first position. WRG, the big dogs.
Can XTC take down WRG? Do they have what it takes?
I think they do. We'll see. Maybe someone else can give some better insight. But I think WRG are just beasts of their own. But XTC, I'm sure they have something up their sleeve this time around.
Right, well, from myself, Jabba and Scarpy, it has been an absolute honor. We are going to be leaving you with the finals being brought to you with Devon and Reigns. It's time to hand it over to the guys at the main stage.
Thanks a lot, casters. There we have it. XTC victorious against Energy in an absolute marathon of a game. I think neither team wanting to lose, playing perhaps a little bit passive until the point of no return. 2 rapiers being bought in that game, and literally doubling the amount of rapiers we've seen in the tournament so far. We've set up now a winner's bracket final repeat with XTC taking on WRG in a few moments' time. But let's hand over to the panel to hear their thoughts on the match.
It's difficult to tell whether we have thoughts or tears for the side of Energy eSports that have to, unfortunately, disappear from the ranks.
Yeah. I'm really sad because I think all the most entertaining games have been Energy games. All the ultra late games have been Energy games. All the games with double rapier. I think all the games with rapier have been Energy games. I'm only sad I don't get to see them more. Like XTC, I feel like pulled one, not that they pulled one out of the hat, but they delayed games in the game in situations where it might not have been necessary for them to be able to win. Actually, Deppy stopping maybe 4 or 5 Rex pushes that entire game, just amazing. Energy should feel hard but done by. I feel like they should have won, but you can't be sad. Like, what happened, happened.
Well, you can't be sad just by the sheer quality of game that they gave to us. It was such a pleasure to watch. We had the most amazing time here on the panel. I know I was laughing, Chanel was laughing, you were up in the booth.
I was pulling my hair out. I was like, oh my God!
Also, we got the privilege to see Chelsea's axe, which was,
amazing.
on all accounts, amazing. And he deserves that title, even though we're going to have to wave goodbye to him. But without any further ado, let's cover what's actually happened within the game. About 37 minutes in, XTC looking very, very strong, and then it suddenly becomes a mess. Things go all awry, and nobody knows what's going on. It's suddenly, me and Chanel, we start talking to each other. Is this really an even matchup? Is this actually...
It was quite a bit. It was swinging 1K that side, 1K that side, 1K this side, 1K this side. What I did feel that XTC did more effectively was the objective game. I mean, as soon as Deppy saw, okay, we lost this fight anyway, he TPs in, takes a Rax for himself while the team fight goes on. And, you know, that was pretty efficient of him. And then again, he TPs in, gets another tower. So it's kind of like they just couldn't leave base. And when they do, they push out their lanes thinking, okay, cool, we can take something on. And there you go, Deppy's there, right? They're TPing in on his Forge Spirits. And it's just, but I must say, this is the energy that I've wanted to see played. I mean, they just gave us everything. This is the energy that I'm used to seeing. This is what I wanted this whole tournament. They just haven't done it yet. But
unfortunately,
Odu Coddle, I mean,
it blew my mind. It's not the energy to win this tournament yet. Still, before we continue, I know there's so much to say, especially about this game.
Yeah.
But I know Gareth is sitting with someone special.
Thanks a lot, Nick. Yes, I have victorious captain Dota and I here from XTC. You guys must be stoked that you got through to that, what ended up being a bit of a marathon there.
Yeah, no, I think we had it like halfway through, and then either we messed up a bit or they just started playing really well. One of the two, it doesn't matter. But yeah, we pulled through in the end. We thought we would, so yeah, we're happy.
Just one thing, at this sort of level of competition, it felt like the players were more concerned on not losing than winning, in terms of like making sure they always had buybacks, always making sure they secure Rosh before going into that fight. I know you guys obviously paid a lot of respect to the Kotl, pushing high ground only when it was night time, for example.
Yeah, I think this tournament specifically, we've been a lot more aggressive than in the past. Like, we're trying to adapt to beat White Rabbit, and you have to like put a lot of early pressure on. You have to be super aggressive in general. So I think definitely teams, the nerves get to them and they don't want to die. They think they're going to throw the game. That's more important to them than like making ballsy plays and seeing if it works out. But that game specifically, we were being very ballsy in the early half, and then we screwed it up a little bit in the end, so we had to try and be a bit more defensive at some point.
What is the team reaction when you saw those two rapiers in the backpack of C1?
We were not actually that concerned, to be honest. Like, he never even got a great slate off with a whole bunch of crits. It was just wait in a lane for him, see if he comes, jump him. No, I think we were pretty prepared. We've dealt a lot of Ember. Deppy is an amazing Ember. We know how to play against it. It's fine.
Now, thoughts going into the final? Unfortunately, a map down, but obviously you got to play against WRG already. Learnings you took from that game that you can go into the grand finals with?
Okay, well, last time we were a bit less confident than what we are now at the previous VS LAN. We feel like we figured all of the teams out this tournament, and I think we've got a pretty good strategy going up against White Rabbit. I think we have a much better chance of taking them now. It's just going to be about how we perform at that moment.
Thanks a lot for the interview. I'm going to throw back to the panel before we chat to our losing captain.
Well, strong words from Dota and I there. It's shaping up to be a very interesting grand final with such boisterous cockiness.
Yeah.
You know, you know what really helps? Winning a 90-minute game, right?
It does help, yes.
It's such a like winning a 90-minute game versus double Rapier Ember Spirit. You're just like, actually, we can do this.
I don't think it's
a cocky. It's more of confidence. Being cocky is something a bit different. You kind of look at them and go, oh, what jokes. But you look at them and go, they've got confidence. They really have practiced and strategized against teams in this competition.
And they actually deserve it.
Yep.
It's not like they're here for no reason. They are here. They have made their way through eNergy eSports because they deserve to be through eNergy eSports.
Like, for a long time, people have been saying that WRG have played XTC in second place a lot of times, right? But we can't ignore the fact that XTC have gotten there. XTC weren't gifted a free pass to be the second place team. They kept beating eNergy. They kept beating Bravado, APG. Everybody else has fallen by the wayside. XTC has been better, so they deserve exactly where they are. And no matter what happens, we know XTC are going to live and die by their own efforts, and they're not going to let anything else affect them.
The plays pulled some of the calls pulled off by Chelsea. The Odu Kotl was probably the worst pain in their side, though. That guy on the Kotl was just...
Wonderful Kotl.
I mean, he had one mistake where he blinding lights it, but it's just like I think they were Chelsea and him were both seeing red. So he's thinking back in his brain, okay, I'm going to drain out of his mana and stun him. Chelsea comes in. Unfortunately, it happens. It was the one mistake, but I mean...
The one thing Dota and Dai mentioned was about like halfway through the game that eNergy started playing a lot better.
Yeah,
and
they did.
There were times when they were not able to, like their high ground sieging potential was very low. Like Ember Visage aren't really the heroes
they
that
have
you
to
see
respect
very well
them,
with. So,
well, I'm sure we have someone who wants to get his final words in before we wave goodbye to him, and Gareth is there with him now.
Thanks a lot, panel. Yes, I'm here with Chelsea, losing captain of eNergy eSports. Your thoughts on those games?
Well played to XTC. Yeah, they're obviously the better team now. They've beat us three tournaments in a row, so congrats to them.
So that marathon game there at the end, you guys are seeming to make that almost your trademark, is to have these really, really long, drawn-out games. Is it something about your team's playstyle or something about the meta at the moment? It has seemed to, because there's more farm available on the map, that the games are kind of drawing out a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it's because none of us really know what we're doing in games. So it just becomes really dirty, and then, we just play.
So then I have to ask those rapiers, two of them, and what took so long, really, for them to... They were queued up there by C1 for the longest time, and they ended up going, I think, for the second Daedalus instead. The team's decision to hold out for that long?
What, for the rapiers? We didn't want to lose the game straight away if he died, because we definitely had a chance, especially when Deppy bought back. But, I mean, when he bought back, then he bought two of them, because, if he dies, we lose. Kind of thing. Yeah, that was the logic behind it.
Let's talk about that first draft. We haven't had a chance to really chat about with the Omni pick that ended up being, I think, confusing a lot of people, except for we overheard some of the XD guys in the crowd who obviously your scrim partners, and they were calling it's a position 1 Omni, and I think a couple of guys won some 20 Rand bets when they were right. Obviously, not the traditional position for an Omni Knight. We've seen him a little bit in the off lane, but not too much in the safe lane. Thoughts behind that draft?
Our safe lane player used to be an off lane player, and he really liked playing Omni Knight and Visage, so we picked both those heroes for him. Yeah, that's it.
How important is that kind of comfort pick on heroes rather than like what's traditionally in the meta, especially in these high pressure situations, to play players on heroes that they are particularly comfortable with?
Yeah, I think it's the most important thing for players to play the heroes that they are most comfortable with.
Let's take a question quickly about the South African meta. It doesn't seem to be following really the international meta. Do you think it's because we kind of developed our own play style, or is there quite a bit of lag, I think, from the international meta?
I just don't think we're as good as tier 1 teams, so the same things don't apply. We can pick different things because people don't do things properly. Yeah.
Cool, well, thanks for that insight. We are now going to invite the rest of your team on stage as we are going to do the medal ceremony for 3rd place. If you can have a round of applause for all the guys as they come on stage, congratulations to them. At the same time, I'm going to invite Johan, and then Cambridge, the CEO of VS Gaming, is also here to do the medal ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have your 3rd place team, eNergy eSports. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations again to eNergy eSports. We will be back at 1:30 for our grand finals between WRG and XTC. So be sure to be back at 1:30.
Bittersweet moments, and Dota's filled with them. What a privilege it's been to see eNergy eSports back on form the way we remember them, with some of the oldest and best names in the business. I love Habibi, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, some of them are feeling a little down. Maybe we should have done better. Habibi's just like, yeah, cool, I got third.
No, but that's Habibi, though. That's always the way he's been. He's always got a smile on his face no matter what.
I mean, he's won enough first place, right?
Yeah.
I think he's cool.
He's
right?
cool.
He used to be
He's chill.
part of what we came to know as the big blue dragon that dominated South African eSports.
The nickname you so dubbed them, yes.
It's my birthday, I'm allowed to.
It kind of stuck, though.
It's my birthday, come on. Yeah, for 5 years, BVD just dominated the scene.
Yeah.
And people have likened WRG, who we are going to see now in the grand finals at 1:30, to better than BVD. But I've got to be honest, there's still something missing. And I think XTC may be able to find a chink in the army here. They certainly have the confidence to do it. They certainly feel prepared to do it.
Yeah.
Is that actually something feasible?
I think they've gone against them enough times to at least be like one of the teams that can viably actually do it. I don't know. What do you think?
No, they've played them enough. Like you're saying, they've played them enough times. If there is somebody who's going to figure out a weakness in WRG, it's going to be XTC. Also, I think the primary difference in my mind between how Bravado was super dominant and how WRG are at a higher tier than everyone else. So it's good for them, but it also means that they don't have as many people to practice with and many people to scrim with, people that you can grow alongside with.
Yeah.
So at some point, you're going to stagnate in that environment.
Yeah.
So there is an opportunity for them to be caught up to, whereas Bravado had more than one team around them that were never on the exact same level, but were close enough to pose legitimate threats.
Yes, yes. Let's just quickly recap the history of WRG. In 2015, nobody would touch them. They couldn't find a sponsor for love or money. And these days, they're top of the world. 2016 was the epic brawl between themselves and BVD. So they do deserve, some might argue, to walk away with victory here. It's not like they've won every single match in the entirety of 5 years of history. On the other side of the coin, XTC, a team which has openly admitted that they are individually skilled enough to win versus WRG today. This is going to be a showdown of the ages. You do not want to miss it. If you're sitting at home, come down to the CTICC Hall 1 and come and see the action live. In the interim, though, we're going to have to cut to a short break. We'll see you shortly.
Mufukeng. Joseph Mufukeng, you have 30 seconds to get to stage. Congratulations to you, sir. You get the Smart 4-4, and that's the car that you get for a whole year, courtesy of Mercedes-Benz and Smart.
Good morning and welcome back. It's the beginning of day 2. It's bright and early. All the teams are starting to file on in.
Good morning everyone and welcome back to some more VS Gaming action. Once again, I'm Helbert and I'm joined by some fantastic gentlemen on the panel this morning and of course Reddit as well.
VS Gaming came out really strong in the beginning of the year, advertising that they're going to release a Dota 2 tournament which has a prize pool of 110,000 Rand. And this is just one of the tournaments because they're going to have another Masters, which is either CSGO or Dota 2. And with Supersport collaborating with them, they can actually make this beyond the expectations with the increase of prize pool, for example. Regarding the teams, in this tournament, I feel that XTC Gaming showed us that they have a lot of potential. They've got 2 teenagers, actually make it 3 because they have a set of twins there.
Give a quick estimation, how long are the games going to be?
35-minute games, 2-0.
There you go. Straight from Hunter's mouth, Fury's mouth. We have twins, so I keep on getting them confused. It's Hunter and Fury, twins in the team. It's always interesting.
Are you going to deal with Hunter and Fury? That's a good question.
One of the players that impressed me is Depi from XTC. I think he's around 18 or 19 years old, but right now where I'm standing is that they are playing for 2nd place, which is quite impressive.
I think we should stay in practice. 3:30 we play our first game tomorrow.
We're so lucky actually.
Yeah, we've got nice time. Keeping the winners bracket.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and Dota players around the world. Day 2 of our VS Gaming LAN. The first game up is going to be Pulse vs Veneration. Going to be a super interesting game.
We don't worry about cheating too much. Most people are ethical. It's just silly things, you know, people touching their phones, just careless behavior. That's what we're looking for the most part. We want to keep it as clean as possible. If there is direct cheating, sorry, out. Disqualified immediately.
Every single game yesterday was basically one-sided.
What I expect to see today, though, is maybe some more even games where we actually see it go to a game 3 instead of just game 2 the whole time.
Otter in the mid lane, taking on 2 of the supports here for the side of Pulse. He takes down the Victory Doppler.
Game, Pulse.
Saying goodbye to Veneration. I think they gave a really solid performance.
Amazing.
We started off with White Rabbit Gaming versus Mythic. Obviously Mythic being the new kids on the block, we didn't expect too much from them in this tournament, but just them being here is pretty cool all the same. White Rabbit Gaming, on the other hand, we kind of expect them to win. They're the big boys, they're the reigning champs, if you will.
But now they want to turn it off, and there they go onto Temporal Assassin. I don't know where to focus on this fight. Come on, guys.
Oh, hold on quickly. We might actually see Chidawi in quite a bit of trouble right now, but the support's coming through.
This could be game 1.
GG's were actually called there.
I don't know what to say.
eNergy outmaneuvered the side of WRG.
Okay, that was one of the most exciting matches I've seen in about a year.
WRG sitting on the back foot, 1 game down. Surprise, surprise. Brave Subs unfortunately to verify as well. Can they get the kill? Yes, they will. There you go. Castaway getting it.
This is definitely what I expected to see WRG. They take a stumble and they come back with just this vigor.
WRG versus eNergy, 1 apiece. Deciding matchup here in the winning bracket.
There's the black hole and dead. Here we go. Now Chelsea's on the run. Coming to Chidawi wants to go for black hole, but a huge back wall combo coming to as well as the Disruptor ultimate. This is exactly what eNergy wanted, but it's not enough. It's brilliant play from eNergy. It's just not enough. Well played.
XTC versus XD.
XTC looking really strong at the moment. And that is it. Done, dusted.
We underestimated the Stam and the Depi potential. I mean, they just caught up so quickly at a stage.
I was really into sports at a young age, and my dad was always there for me at that. And I said, one day you'll see me on Supersport. And I mean, this is it. This is the moment that I've been looking for, and I'm sure he'll be proud.
I think it's like the last legs XD have in this tournament. They need to like really bring out the big guns. One of these teams are going to be the 3rd team to leave the tournament today, and yeah, it's unfortunately how the tournament goes.
So I think shoutcasters, there's a lot of personalities there.
Hello, Little Sheep and Wilson XXL.
Damn, it's good to be back in the seat, baby. Yep, I've just made everybody in this room cry salty tears.
However, the root is up onto the Tinker once again. Tinker might be in a bit of trouble. He is shadow gamed up. He manages to blink out of that one alive.
It's actually your beard pushing the buttons and moving the mouse while you may be eating something.
Oh yeah, man, I'm not even talking right now. This is just the beard. It's literally operating my lips.
We are all working towards the same sort of goal for South African esports, and the players likewise are working towards the same sort of goal. A very friendly relationship between everyone, but also at the same time a professional one at that.
It's always stressful coming up to these big tournaments, you know, making sure that everything's up and running as it should be. But all of us at the VS Gaming Studio are great friends. We've come a long way. I mean, myself and the tournament director, Robert Hart, we've been friends for the last 13 years. The first 6 of those, we were rivals playing against each other in similar leagues. And now we're the ones running it. And it's been amazing.
O'Malley's got the cards perfect. This fight is going on forever. Damn, I love my job. And the mid lane is down. That's it. Finished. And this is what I came for. Down goes your ancient. And fare thee well, my friends. Aperture Gaming goes forth. And we wave a damn good goodbye to the boys of XD. What a shame to see them go.
Okay, your first line will never be easy. You guys have the potential to literally beat the best in this country. The finals, that is where we are aiming for.
The rock is rocked, baby, and Smacker hits the deck. And this is almost all she wrote, ladies and gents. Boys from Pulse, tap out.
Well, of course, this does mean we are going to have to say goodbye to Pulse. And when I look at eNergy at the moment, they're scary.
If anybody could beat WRG, it's EN and XTC. They both can.
Unfortunately, we had to say goodbye to some teams, and yeah.
too hard. But we were traveling mountains just to find the loudest tears. We set down by the fire, knowing we could aim higher, but we didn't know that yet. So if you want something to hold on to, gotta find it first. But here I am, 'cause I've been laying under palm trees, waiting for the summer, knowing there's nowhere to go. 'Cause I am happy on this island, wanna be my farmland. I